Ladies and gentlemen, good evening, and thank you so much for your patience. Goodness gracious. So apparently something's going on with StreamYard. I don't know if it's just in my area or what, but they said the server's down. So I got the laptop behind me, and I'm having to go live on my phone. Let me know if you got audio and you guys can hear me okay. Man, 3 streams before we got it right. It's crazy. But anyway, I want to go ahead and first congratulate Goonbeam for being first in chat. So Goonbeam, you're the man. Congratulations on being first. And let's go through and say what's up to all the channel members. All right, so we got Man Against the Masses. What's up, brother? Another channel member. BV Luminous, I see you changed your name back to BV Luminous. I love it. Another channel member. Come out in PLA. What's up, brother? Another channel member. Who else we got? BB Luminous, come out in PLA. Shauna member. What's going on, Shauna? And I wonder if Jason's here too. Good to see you guys. See, now I'm back to, me and the turkeys being live at the same time. Sorry. Turkeys, I love y'all. You know I love y'all, but I gotta do my thing, gotta do my show. Kurt 24.
Their jobs to us. They're closing. They're listing.
Dude, that's so weird. Yeah, something's going on with StreamYard. I have no idea, but some kind of video just started playing while and it took me out. I don't know. It's crazy. We are going to do everything we can do to bring y'all a show tonight. 100% committed. All right, so moving along. Kurt 24, what's up, brother? Good to see you. Another channel member. We got, let's see, Kurt 24, Baby Luminous, Mike McClune. What's up, brother? Another channel member, of course. Good to see you. And who else we got up in here? Hey, Jason, there he is. Jason Ewing, good to see you. Another channel member next to Shauna member. Let's see. Hey, Rusty Shackelford, what's up, brother? Good to see you, man. My man. Fluffy Bunny, where you been at, bro? Good to see you. And this is only my second show back, right? But hey, still good to see you. Okay, 717, my man. What's up, brother? Says audio is good. Thank God. Kurt says 5x5. Thank you, all you guys. I appreciate it. Everyone seems to have issues with StreamYard. Yeah, so they have a server down, apparently, and we felt it big time because it kept knocking my mic out. It just took me out again. It started, playing some other video. I have no idea. I think that was like a video from Crump's log or something. It's crazy. Whatever's going on, they need to get it together. StreamYard, if you're out there and you hear me, bro, get it together. Okay, who else we got? BB, Shauna, Cotton PLA. I think we got all the channel members. We got our honorable mentions. Joe Morris, what's up, fam? Good to see you, man. We got Zanti Misfit. We got MC. What's up, brother? Good to see you. G23, what's up, brother? Oh, and G23, we were supposed to connect. My bad, man. And I forgot to connect with you today. My bad. It's been crazy. Dude Knowledge, what's up, brother? Zanti Misfit. Saw a couple others in here. Not my name. Whatnot again. Wes Eli, what's up, brother? Good to see you. Goonbeam, my man. Now, last time I had flashlights here that didn't have batteries in them, and when I brought them up, I was like, click, and nothing happened. Now I got that lightsaber handy. And I got a fun helicopter story about that, but that's for another. I probably shouldn't talk about that. Taco Syndicate, what's up, brother? Good to see you. We got everybody in here, man. The gang's all here. Chris from the 740, what's up, brother? Another dope channel. Let's see. Yeah, I hate going live while the turkeys are live too, man. But Jen Champ, what's up, brother? Good to see you. Johnny Ba, what up? What up? Let's see, who else did I miss? Oh, we got Tech Money in the building. Only in B-More. Hey, the XR920, what up? Big Fish of the Boat, what up? King Henry 47, what's going on, man? Another channel member. Ron Bayer, what's cracking, fam? Good to see you. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. So, okay. some of you guys, if you've been here for a minute, okay, then you've seen, God, I mean, hundreds of guests at this point, right? Maybe half of those guests were Flying Rich and John Crump and whatnot. But if you've been here along the ride the whole time, then you've seen a gang of guests. Oh, hold up. Do we got Mike McClune? Did Mike McClune just... Okay, King Henry 47 is a new channel member. Hold on. Did somebody just share channel memberships? See, now, Kurt, I can't look because I'm on my phone, unfortunately. Hold on. So King Henry is a new channel member. Thanks for joining. I appreciate you, brother. And let me know who and how many. Was that Mike McClune that just donated memberships? Sandman, what's up, brother? Stay strapped or get clapped. You know it, man. Was that Mike McClune that just gifted memberships, bro? Paul Bald, what's up, brother? Good to see you. Mike McClune and ADXR920 gifted memberships. Bro, thank you so much, man. Y'all are incredible. Love y'all. Appreciate you guys so much. Thank you, man. You're spreading the love, man. ADXR hooked it up. Mike just gifted memberships. Mike McClune. And, man, you guys are incredible. ADXR920 and Mike McClune. Y'all are awesome, man. Appreciate all y'all. Mike with 10. Dang. That's what's up. JFC. What's up, brother? Good to see you, man. I want to ride. What's up, man? Good to see you. Mike is the man. Damn, look at all these channel members now. That's crazy. Okay, thank you all so much. I appreciate the support and love all y'all. You know I do. And thank you for the new membership, King Henry 47. King Henry, are you here? Did you come from? Did you change your name, or where'd you come from? I appreciate the membership, though. Thank you. Okay, Misty Miss Wayne, great to see you. Another channel member. Have you lost weight? I've been working on losing weight for a long time now. ADXR920 donated 5. Bro, thank you. Thank you. Love y'all, man. McClune, Mike the man. Okay, so if y'all have been around for a while, something original. What's up, fam? Thank you, man. It's good to be back. And this is my second episode back. If you did not see the last episode back, we had Stephen Williford, who is the man that stopped the Sutherland Springs shooter during a mass tragic event in Sutherland Springs, Texas. And damn, that's I'm finding your lost weight. You can keep it. You can keep it. Good to see you, PAEMT, FF9. Are you an EMT and a firefighter? Damn, that's what's up. If you saw my first episode back was July 4th, and it was Stephen Williford, the barefoot defender, who stopped the Sutherland Springs church shooter with an AR-15, and did it barefoot. Dude is a straight boss. Like, man, he rose to the occasion and he did some shit. And it's an incredible, and I'm not saying it's an incredible interview because of my interviewing skills, you know what I'm saying? I'm just saying it was a great interview. But if you guys have been here for a while, then you know I bring a lot of different guests on, and you may have seen before that there was a great guest who just automatically became one of us. And you may know him as Mr. Kalash Wave himself, front toward the ATF. Or front toward ATF. Yeah, front toward ATF. So we'll go ahead and bring him on and we'll kick it again. So let me grab him here real quick. Boom. Welcome
Howdy.
back.
Hey, man. Thanks for having me here.
Yeah, dude. Hell yeah. Sorry it took like 30 minutes just to get the show ready.
It's out of your hands, Roy. What can you do?
Yeah, man. It's crazy. And I just... Okay, so Man Against the Masses, one of my viewers out there, he was saying... Dark, you can't do this on AOL dial-up. Hey, I was running over 800 megabytes per second, okay? I did an internet speed test, okay? But anyway, for the people that are here that don't know who you are, let them know a little bit about, who you are, what you do, and where they can find you.
Sure thing. And first of all, someone was using the home phone while dial-up was being used, which probably the problem we're having, you know how it goes.
Yeah.
But yeah, so main Instagram, which was personal and then turned to like gun shit posting, is front toward ATF. Name comes from the M18 Claymore, in case you don't know it, which just says front toward enemy. But I hate the ATF, so I put that there. I'm gonna
You
get
were,
it out of the way. Oh, what's that?
I said you were in good company, my friend.
Yeah. So get it out of the way. So the reason you'll see the mask or the sunglasses indoors is because I legit started doing this like really early into the gun page, because I'm gonna be honest, like I'm not a pretty face to look at, so I just threw this on. And also because so I kind of have like a fat face, so when it comes to shooting, like I have the electronic Ear Pro, and when I press like against my stock, it'll legit pinch my face. And I would wear this so that never was a problem, and then it just became a thing.
It
And
just
so
kind of,
people, yeah, I just stuck. People will comment like, "Oh, why are you hiding your face but you have tattoos?" It's like I'm not trying to hide my identity per se. I did this for like legitimately because of shooting, because my fucking face would get pinched, and then it just threw its thing. And I'm always wearing sunglasses, so.
now is that because you were running like Polish underfolders and shit like that? It was
Oh yeah, man. All like those anything with the aluminum or steel stock that just really gives you a little love bite.
little
And like I said,
straight.
yeah, it just always pinched my face, because I'm not one of those dorks that have like the rifle against their chin and stand up tall and have like literally no contact with each other. I just dig that rifle in. So
Hell yeah.
I just wore this it just kind of became a thing.
I always thought it was because you were like some like type of super high speed, like crazy operator, and you just had to cover, your ID.
No, in the grand scheme of shooting, I've done one rifle course, like it was like an 8-hour course, Rainier Firearms, with 3 of my buddies. It was a full class, like I had 10 people, but 3 of my buddies, so like total 4 of us were like, yeah, we want to get this AK specific course started, so we did. And then I competed once in Kalash Bash last year. Um, I'm
No,
not an expert shooter. Me being in the Air Force meant nothing as far as shooting. Like I just taught myself, over the years. I stuck with AKs because that's my thing. So I
yes,
never claim to be expert. I have my opinions and my experience, but I'm definitely not an expert. I'll be the first to say that.
that's like your thing. Like AKs, like if for all you guys out there, if you go to his page, check out now. You have front toward ATF, which it's front underscore toward underscore ATF, right?
Yeah,
And then you have another page that's Kalash Wave.
I do. Yes.
Okay, all right. If you guys go check it out, you're gonna see it's all like vintage AK drip, fucking full kit, like dope ass shit. So go hit him with a like bomb. Go like a bunch of his shit and show some love. And what what was it about the AK that made you fall in love? Like I've seen you got a couple ARs, pictures of ARs and stuff too. So
Yeah.
you like hate them, right?
No, I don't hate them. They're like Glocks to me. They're practical. They have their place. They've been kicking ass for this long.
Mhm.
They're more of like a mistress to me. Like their side piece. I have one AR and it's in like a, what is it, 723 clone, whatever. Think of like an M4 carbine with a fixed carry handle. I have that. It's like my one AR and that's it. I have
Nice.
but my main love with AKs, I was like super bi-curious about them years ago when I was watching AKOU, like AK Operators Union. I was like, man,
Hmm.
he just looks like he's having a hell of a time. And one of my close friends is he was big into AKs growing up too. So he just kind of like influenced me to do it. And then shit just went on from there. The reason I stuck with the Arsenal as my main squeeze is one of my buddies had bad experience with like a cheap shitty AK that kind of blew up. And so
Hmm.
he just went all out. He's like, if I'm gonna buy an AK, I'm gonna go all out. So he got the Sam 7 SF and I got a handle of it, shot it, and I was like, this thing is just really awesome.
Yeah.
I enjoyed all the features, so I was like, I have to have one. So I bought one as well, and I never looked back.
Dude, I've had my hands on a bunch of arsenals. I currently only have one arsenal, but I think part of it, like in the beginning, like when I got into guns, like for budget purpose, AKs were like $300 and up, right? And then ARs were like $1,000. So it was
Yeah.
like, I could buy a Mosin Nagant for like $79, or I
Oh
could
yeah.
an AK for 3 something, or I could buy an AR for like 800 to 1,000. So at the time, it was like, fuck it, I'm gonna get a Wasser 10 for 329. But I started with a Wasser 10, and I honestly loved it. Like that thing it just ran great. It did have a canted front sight, I will say that, but wherever I pointed it, it hit. Like it was dead on. But I upgraded to an Arsenal SLR 95 with a milled receiver. It was dope. But I ended up, getting rid of that. And I got the SLR 106 UR SBR. So it's a Crankin 5.56.
Yeah.
And that thing's pretty dope. I still got some Sentries, but I love the Arsenal.
I know a lot of people are against this, the whole buy never sell guns, but man, I've gotten rid of so many guns over the years. The ones that really stuck with me are like the ones that I've really cared for. With the Arsenal, besides the fact I spent a lot of money on it, and I've also beat the hell out of it, so I don't think anyone would even want to buy it anyway after this many rounds. But that thing has been the features that it has, the reliability, built like a tank. The stock is still tighter than a nun's hooch. It kicks ass, man. It's been with me legitimately like on the East Coast and the Midwest and the West Coast. So like I can't say no to it.
Yeah, that becomes a part of you at that point, especially like you had told me before we went live, you're about to hit a fun threshold with it, right?
Yeah, let's see, I spent time with it in South Carolina, so like kind of the swamp area, here in the stupid humid Midwest, in like the sand dunes or like the sandy deserty area in southern Idaho, winter in the mountains, whatever. That thing's been all over the place. And the only problems that I've ever had were ammo related, like, hard primer strike. That's it. I've never even had a stuck casing on it either.
Damn.
You can't beat it, man. I love it.
That's why AKs have cleaning rods, by the way.
Yes, I know a lot of people will get like butthurt about putting on cleaning rods, or anytime I see like some really cool Gucci AK and there's no cleaning rod and they have the capacity to do so, I'm like, where is it, man? You're missing out.
Dude, I remember I forget which AK it was, but I had switched to, I think it was a Midwest Industries handguard at the time, because if you didn't have pick rails on your rifle, you were a fucking loser, right? So I was like, dude, I need rails all over this shit.
Oh yeah, we've all been there, man. Accessorize before you even start dumping any ammo.
Yeah. Now this is a long time ago, guys. This is way before M-Lock and Keymod and all that. Obviously,
Ninja days
exists anymore. But I remember I upgraded to a Picatinny rail, handguard, and then I went to go put the cleaning rod in, and it was like it wouldn't go in. I was like, oh hell no, this is coming off. Because I've had, especially certain ammos, I've had like that zinc powder coated shit and the lacquer shit. Man, that shit will stick in your chamber, and it is in there until you take a cleaning rod and pop it out.
Yeah, ironically, I never use the cleaning rod for cleaning. I use it just to pop out. It's an emerge thing, right? Just for stuck casings, and you never think about needing one until the time comes. Because I've had stuck.
Did we just lose service here?
Oh, hey, can you hear me, man?
Okay, I got you. Yeah, I lost you for a second, but okay, it stopped it. I had stuck. Can you hear me? Oh no, don't.
Yeah, it's cutting in and out. Like you're doing fine now, but it's a bit of a lag issue, latency issue.
Oh man, my bad. Yeah, I think the server issue is coming back to haunt.
Oh yeah, what was I saying?
You never had a stuck casing or emergency tool.
Oh yeah, so in the Arsenal anyway, I've never had a stuck case on it, but it's happened before on other rifles, just other AKs my friends had, whatever. And you never really think of them or think of the cleaning rod until you need it. Trying to take them out with, a pocket knife or pliers or the, like if you have a multi-tool, they can be kind of annoying because I've had it before where you actually break the rim from just
Yeah.
being too hard on it because it's just cheap made cases, right? So
Yeah.
cleaning rod, in all intents and purposes, it does its job of getting those duck keys out.
Yeah.
And for anyone who owns a Sam 7 SF, so it's a two-piece cleaning rod. There's threaded, so you can't put the full cleaning rod attached because of the latch mechanism in the receiver. However, I have found out a MacGyver way of doing it is on the stock itself. There is a recessed area on the right side that very conveniently fits the other half of the cleaning rod, and you have to put electrical tape and you could slide it in there. And you
What?
therefore have, yeah.
Dang, I didn't even
I
know
mean,
that.
I could show you if you want, but I didn't know if you still have that like no firearms in the chat rule or the video rule.
Yeah, YouTube is still super whack. Like you could
Mm.
something like hanging up or like sitting in the background, but if the moment that we handle something, it'll
Oh, right, that's it. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
I think it's just because they don't want people live streaming their mass tragic events,
Oh, yeah.
you know. But
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
YouTube like that.
But I am, by the way, I am reading like the chats on the right. They're pretty funny. I'm not trying to ignore them, but
Yeah,
I swear I have ADHD, so I get like sidetracked real easily. But
no, and they're
yeah,
also
if
the fun.
anyone has a Sam 7 SF or plans to, yes, you can keep your cleaning rod on you because I think it's important to keep on you for practical purposes. If you're out there like out in the field, whatever.
For sure, for sure. What so come out in PLA asks, are M13 AKs good or no? I'm not familiar.
If this is talking about M13 Industries, I'd like that to confirm if that's what they're talking about because I have a story about them.
Yeah, I don't know. I honestly, man, there are few AKs that I would rock and like even okay, so like Sentry AKs, I'll only purchase if I can actually get my hands on the exact one that I'm planning on purchasing.
Yeah.
And okay, so he said, yep. And
Okay.
feel it, field strip it, take it apart, look at, you know what I mean? Like get my hands on it, fit mags in it, just to kind of see if it, you know, how the fit and finish is and all that, and how the sights are, how the dust cover is, trigger. But like, I don't know, INC. I mean, there's so many AKs that I just wouldn't even fuck with at
Oh,
all.
same here, man. Same here. So about M13 Industries,
Mm-hmm.
general consensus seems to be that the quality of their builds are well of how they, build whatever parts kits, do whatever conversions that they do. My experience many years ago, I can't believe it's already been this long. So I used to have a Polish Tonto, right?
Mm-hmm.
One in 545, and I wanted to have the front sight gas block conversion, right?
Mm-hmm.
So had it sent in. I told them I was like, I just want the front sight change, blah blah blah, and I gave them a flash hider to pin and weld it. Sent it to them. They said the lead time would be about 8 weeks or 6 weeks or something, right? And I was like, yeah, whatever. I know they've got a long lead time. Takes a
Mm-hmm.
while to do it. So be it. And after about like the 7 week, 8 week mark, I just asked them for an update, and they said, "Oh yeah, sorry, we'll get to it in like 3 weeks because we got a lot of other stuff." And I was like, "Okay, so be it." And like 2 weeks, 3 weeks later, I'm asking like, "Hey, how's the rifle going?" And they said, "Yeah, we'll get to it in like 4 days." Okay, sure thing. And just kept time and time after going on and on. And I'm seeing them post all these other rifles they're building, posted on Instagram, what have you. And
Mm-hmm.
I kept emailing. I was like, "Are you ever going to get to my rifle?" And it's not that I'm not willing to wait. It's just that if you say X amount of weeks, actually go through with that time.
Yeah.
And they just kept being beaten around the bush about it. And so I was like, I think after like 4 months of waiting or something, I was like, I just send it back. I was like, I don't want to deal with this anymore. And they sent back the rifle. I'm not even joking. I sent an email and said I'd like my rifle back. And not less than an hour later, I got an email back, and they said, okay. Like there was no apologies for inconvenience or oh yeah, we'll get to it on this day to make up. They just said okay and sent it back like immediately, as if they were
Wow.
just kind of as if they were just kind of waiting to just like let's get over it, get this guy, deal with this guy, And they
What?
didn't even give me the flash hider back.
What?
Yeah, I was like, oh, whatever. But yeah, it's just such poor communication. You know, they didn't apologize. I felt like for a customer service aspect, I was like, whatever. I
And
had put a pretty bad taste in my mouth. Um, so what? Then the only gun, the only rifle, or excuse me, the only AK I have that actually has gunsmithing is my Draco. It has a side rail and a AKM like rear trunnion installed. I sent that over to CW Gunworks. They said 4 months, done in 4 months. Came back instant. Everything looks really good. They were very communicative about it. So I never knew why M13 did that. I put a bad taste. I never looked back. I stopped following them. I was really annoyed, but
dude,
whatever.
yeah, I don't blame you, man. I mean, I look in the past, prior to me kind of waking up, like this was years and years ago when I got a bunch of tax stamps and all that shit. I just wasn't awake to, everything. But waiting for guns was like, it was just so common, and I cannot believe that I would pay the federal government $200, pay whatever one, two, three, whatever $1,000 for something, and then wait 6, 8, 9, 12, 13 months. 13 months I waited for the Form 1 for that crink for the
Jesus.
SLR. Like,
When the paper ones were
yeah, this is back when
yeah.
it was paper stamps, and nowadays, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised to hear if shit was taking that long. My bad, John Crump. I didn't even see this earlier. John Crump live with a $2 super chat. Hey,
What a
Glowy
guy.
hole. Thanks,
You
man.
know, it's kind of funny. It's like a damned if you do, damned if you don't. But I like doing anything in my power to just rag on the ATF, where it's like they're so backed up with NFA forms, where it just kind of goes to show how the NFA should really just be repealed. And at the same
Mhm.
time, I start dogging on them like, dude, do your job. Why can't you just fill out these forms? Like, why are we waiting 6 months? Just whatever you can do to just rag on them, I will do. But they turn off all the commenting on all their posts.
Yep, they know
It's
better.
it. Yeah.
I mean, they're posting shit like you know, the dog calendar, and like most of the shit they're either trolling or they do it to themselves. They're just idiots. Hey, AZ Infidel, what's up, brother? Good to see you.
Ooh, got
Yeah,
the RPK, so big chungus. You
yeah,
know,
man.
when it comes to stuff like that, when it comes to
Oh,
like this, civilian RPKs, or
yeah,
take something that was made in for the military that was kind of designed to be full auto, like 99% of the time being used, like an RPK or an MP5, right? Something that's designed to
yeah,
just go full turbo all the time. And they're
yeah,
really cool on the civilian side, but when you only get to shoot semi-auto, it kind of puts a little sour taste in my mouth. Not gonna
yeah.
lie.
Dude,
Just
it's the same. Like I see all the time. I see these dudes buying like the FN 240 Bravo in semi
yeah.
and like the fucking 249 saw in semi-auto. It's like, or
Oh,
worse, I got a friend with a fucking RPD in semi-auto. It's
oh,
like,
that's painful, man. That's like a
it's
chastity
brutal.
belt on it. Like
Yeah, it's brutal. And honestly, it's more difficult to build those guns in semi-auto.
yeah, yeah. Like the parts are limited and like reliable magazines and all the functioning stuff. So the fact that it bastardized his semi-auto is that's pretty painful right there.
And if you get a malfunction in an RPD, holy shit. And for you guys out there that don't know, an RPD is a freaking belt fed, like 30-pound AK, basically. It's no. Okay, so John Crump, who, by the way, for everyone out there, I'm sure most people know who he is. John Crump is an investigative journalist who reports on the fuckery that the ATF is doing all the time, and he totally shits on them.
Mm,
He says he applied for a job at the ATF today. There's no way, Crump. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. There's no
yeah.
way.
I don't believe it either. I don't want to believe it. I don't like
He,
having feds in here.
he's definitely trolling him. RPD is sexy. RPD is sexy, but it's another one of those things that's like it's super. Okay, so it's cool as hell, but in semi-auto, it's just kind of like
Man,
why?
any belt fed in semi-auto, like it's just the main feature, like the main purpose behind it, being that light support of the machine gun, right? That one, whether it's like a crew serve thing or one guy with semi-auto, or sorry, full auto with the belt fed, like it's just
Yeah,
that its purpose was to like dispense as much ammo and hate in that direction, and the fact that you can only do it like one at a time, it's just, I mean, maybe some people buy the semi-auto versions and do a little spicy stuff in the garage, but maybe, I don't know, but
it
that's
could be.
just,
It's what you guys choose to do at home is totally up to you.
oh,
So if you had like a unicorn AK, like if there's an AK out there, like what would be your like unicorn AK that you would
I
want?
already know it. It's the upside down AK, the PKM, man. That's that's like the holy grail for me. I know in my life I'll never be able to own one, or at least I'm not willing to pay for it, because let's be real, like a real PKM, like what, 40, $50,000 for like a civilian to own one if you can get it.
Probably, yeah, probably.
Yeah, probably. And if I had like the coupon for one free gun, like no bars hold nothing, it legitimately is PKM. No
Dang.
hesitation. I don't care, like grenade launchers, that stuff's cool, but no, PKM. Classic PKM, man.
See, if okay, so now putting it that way, like if you had a coupon for one free gun, like no questions asked.
I told you, man, PKM. Look, you gotta understand, with just is one individual guy as who can run as much in firepower, right? PKM is designed for that one guy to run it, where it's not something like an MG43 or whatever, where you require like kind of a crew to change barrels and all that stuff. I mean,
Yeah,
you can do that with PKM. Again, I'm not an expert, but for the idea of like a small arms, small groups, right? That's still mobile enough if you just really hump it out and get used to like a heavy machine gun like that. PKM is just, it's kicking ass all over the world still. I love the philosophy that it's just an upside down AK.
yeah,
Um,
that is
if
cool.
anything, if anything was to go wild, in that sort of fun scenario that everyone fantasizes about, I'd rather have that. Because at the very least, when people fantasize about grenade launchers and all that stuff, that's cool. It's just, I'm trying to keep like the collateral damage down. You know what I mean? I'm trying to be a
Yeah,
responsible anti-government man.
I'm not gonna lie. Like, look, the VLTOR or whatever,
Yeah,
what
yeah,
VLTOR, right? They're so they make two things that I fell in love with: the SSGL and the MGL. So the SSGL is the single shot grenade launcher. It's got this like steel tab that you pull and then you roll the shit
yeah.
to the right.
Cylinder.
Yep, drop a. Well, so that's the MGL. The MGL's got the cylinder, but the SSGL is just a single shot, and it's so small. It's got a hydraulic buffer, so even when you get some recoil, it just kind of bounces. And then the sight, the aperture is adjustable up to 800 meters, so you can literally take your red dot sight and be like click 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 click,
It's
and then just
just death sent
yeah.
over in that direction.
But the MGL is the one with the cylinder that swings out. Man, if it came with a few thousand rounds, that may be my unicorn like one. You know,
See, you see, when it comes to PKM, I'm willing to shell out all the money for ammo because of how much it would cost to make up for how much a PKM would cost. It's like, would I rather have the free coupon for the machine gun that dispenses that kind of lead, or the money for the ammo? It's like, no, I'll take the gun. I will put my time in for the ammo. I'll put
yeah.
it in.
The only thing is if I chose the 40 millimeter, I would need some help with the ammo. you know,
Yeah.
I
Oh,
mean,
I'm
I can
sorry.
build pretty nasty shit, but I if I were to okay, so let's say I had the any gun in the world coupon, right? And everybody out there, all the viewers out there, if you had your any coupon, gun or any gun coupon, what would your one unicorn gun be? If it
Man.
wasn't something that could fire 40 millimeter HEDP rounds, then Maybe it would be a PSA AR-15. I'm just kidding. That's for Jonah out there. That's he's PSA. What is PWS? My bad. PSA.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe God, you know what's dope as shit, and you kind of like some retro shit, so this may be cool in your opinion.
Oh yeah.
The Ruger AC556.
Yeah.
That's
Kick ass.
so badass, man, with the stainless barrel, the stainless folding
You know,
stock.
if I had that, I would just turn it into the Starship Trooper rifle, since that's what they use for like the base gun, and just
Is that
get
what
that. Yeah, they use that and just a little chassis over it to make it look all spacey.
Dang, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, so you gotta. I'm here for your fun retro facts, my friend.
I know, right? That so.
Speaking.
Oh, go
Oh, I'm
ahead. Go ahead.
sorry. I was gonna say. Speaking of, I think it's probably important at this point to actually like introduce what Kalash Wave even means.
Yeah, that's probably important.
So basically, so the Instagram page is just called what it is right there, Kalash Wave. There is a pinned post explaining what it is, but to make things easier for everyone here, basically everyone knows Kalash is used as like a prefix for anything related to AKs. Kalashnikon, Kalash Bash, Kalashnikarver. Dude makes a lot of custom wood furniture. Anyway,
His shit is dope.
his stuff is pretty cool. I like his rants. I like how he like rants about like stupid customers on his page too. Like he'll screenshot like the things they request or ask for, and he's like, "Don't be this idiot right here."
Yeah.
Anyway, so the wave part is generally used as a suffix for aesthetics, right? Say vapor wave is kind of typically leans on more of the aesthetics of the 90s. And if you Google it, you're going to know what I'm talking about. Some people might not know the term, but as soon as you see it, you're going to understand it. There's vapor wave, retro wave. Shit, there's even a thing called Soviet wave where they have like the Cold War aesthetics of the USSR. And basically, the reason why I like wave is because it goes with aesthetics, right? And there's a certain style and look that I like to go for. When I first coined the term, whatever, I looked on Instagram and put hashtag Kalash Wave and saw no one had made it. It said like 0 posts. And I was like, shit, man, I'll start this. So it just started mixing like the 80s and 90s retro wave aesthetics with AKs and other Cold War guns. And so, yes, the main staple is AKs and all things related to it, but it definitely goes to the Cold War era guns where you had steel and wood, or like that gray parkerized look that the old Colt rifles had,
Yeah.
or the stamped steel guns from like H&K, Spanish guns, whatever. Basically anything that doesn't have a pick rail, no M-lock, none of that shit. Fixed iron sights like to the rifle. So think of all the 80s and 90s movies with H&K MP5s, G3s. Think of the Spots 12. Think of all the crazy cool action movies, all the guns they got to use. And basically, I like to make my own, at least my interpretation of like art to it. I'm an artist. That's just what I do. And one thing I particularly do is make VHS designs. Basically, think of like in my own fantasy setting. Think like it's like 1986 or whatever, and you just bought your first HK91, right? And there's no like none of that band era shit. So you got a flash hider. You can put on a bayonet if you want. Got full big chungus magazines, and with your gun you can buy like an instructional tape. And think of like the cool aesthetic arts that comes with like the tapes. I don't know why they made them like this, but they did. But they had just really cool art, and you can buy a VHS tape of some guy with a mullet and thick mustache and
Just
a
like
god awful narration. He's like, please see this version for understanding and operating the iron sights. If you ever seen those promotional videos for Colt, H&K, Vector rifles, they have this really corny but awesome way of how they just really sell their rifle. Like, oh, our rifle has a sick bayonet cutter, or sorry, wire cutters, and you can just fold the bipod and cut barbed wire. Or this guy's like, this has a really ergonomic pistol grip and safety for maximum efficiency. And the way they really just sell themselves, it's so much cheesiness and campiness. And so I just like the idea that if you could, like, if they made like tapes, right, where here, buy this tape on in your operator's instruction manual on how to run your H&K or your brand new Colt. Think of like Soldier of Fortune in VHS is kind
Your
of
brand new Daewoo 223, you know.
Yeah,
Dude, I've seen a lot of dope ass pictures, man. Like the vibe, like it's almost like it's something that can translate only in a few different ways, right? So, you know, when so another thing like music, right? So are you into hip hop at all?
sort of. I appreciate it, but I don't listen to it much.
So when Wu-Tang put out the
Love,
13 Chambers, they
love Wu-Tang.
yeah, they're fucking awesome,
And it's
man.
36 chambers.
Oh my God. I'm sorry, 30
I
Jesus.
got you, buddy.
Yeah, this is what happens when I'm looking at Gerchop typing 13 every 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Like going back and forth. Jesus Christ, 36 chambers. When they put out 36 chambers, they actually went back and they put the soft sound of the vinyl playing behind it to give like an extra like kind of retro grittiness to their music.
Yeah.
And
So
you know, like that's the kind of thing that like the pictures with Kalash Wave kind of convey, you know, like it's kind of an experience or like a feeling when you see an image, you know, and that's dope.
right. So when they do that, right, that's so basically there is a thing to that. I'm starting to be I'm starting to be an audiophile myself. So when that kind of thing they do when they add that noise from an actual vinyl on the from the needle scratching. So that stuff, that type of editing, I love it, by the way. And when I design the things that I do, because if you go through the page, if you go through the Kalash Wave page, and you'll see like you'll just see all the designs for guns. You gotta understand. So I'm a very technical guy. I like dry, boring information. Take for example Paul Harrell, right? Dude can talk in the camera for like 45 minutes about guns, and I'll just be sitting there like listening to every word. And on
Yeah.
that aspect is that when I make the art that I do, is that there's more to it than just like the pretty colors, designs, and gradients that I make on it, because I try to maintain a look that is reminiscent of the time, not only in the sense of nostalgia, but in the actual design of the art of it. For example, when you look at, I mean, I don't know if anyone's looking at it right now, but when you look at some of the designs, say I made the covers for guns of the movie Heat, right? 1995 with Val Kilmer and Robert De Niro. And they have like the Colt 654 or the SIG P220, whatever. Any of the designs I make, or even like the Daewoo rifle the K2 rifle I did. So a lot of the inspiration for me is from blank VHS tapes. Now, take for example this one from Memorex. Now you understand you're just buying a blank VHS tape so you can record, I don't know, Conan or Jurassic Park on TV. But when you look at this, you start questioning like it looks pretty, but why did they do this? In what design does this entail tape? What is this selling, right? But at the same time, when you look at it, it's like to me, it's a really beautiful piece of art with its graphic colors, its boldness, it's just design, the layout, the composition, so on and so forth. On a technical level,
It's also similar to like the geometric shapes when you used to buy like blank CDs that you would burn.
yeah,
It's
exactly.
similar to that too.
Yeah, when you just kind of look at these and you just wonder, like, what is this supposed to convey? I don't know what, but it's a product of its time with like the orange, yellow, purple, red gradients, the
Yeah.
linear gradients, very symmetrical. The typeface is always almost always Helvetica. So a lot of that really technical stuff I like to incorporate when I'm making the stuff that I'm doing. And I legitimately have like probably like 30 blank tapes. Most of them are all different from each other, from
And they're
Memorex,
still blank.
Sony, TDK, Scotch, all these brands. And even like from one year after another, they all just have these really different designs. And again, they're kind of iconic. People forgot about them, but they're making kind of a retro comeback, right? Because that's kind of how fashion and aesthetics work.
Yeah.
But the way I try to make the art is that it's reminiscent of that, where the colors, the shapes, geometry, composition, so on and so forth, they're reminiscent of the era in which I'm trying to convey. At the same time, I still try to throw my own spin on them. You know, a lot of it we look at with this rose tinted glasses, this romanticized look. Like everyone thinks to an extent, the 90s were all super, very grungy. They had a lot of like the techno music, electronic music, right?
Yep.
Everyone wearing fat Jinko jeans. Probably later on in the 2000s, the big DC shoes, so on and so forth. And so,
Remember the Jinkos for sure.
yeah,
The
yeah.
break pants with the buttons on them.
But that's at least what I like to try to convey. And I'm gonna throw it right now. Like I'm a 90s kid. I'm only 27. I was born in 96. So that's up to debate. Some people think like a generation ends at 96, starts in 97, so on and so forth. But in any case, I just appreciate things from an art perspective. I know everyone gets a lot of nostalgia and rose tinted glasses, and the way I try to do things isn't only of like eating member berries. Like, hey guys, you remember blank tapes? You remember Jurassic Park? And that's all fine. That's a good merit of its own if that's what you want to enjoy it for. But for me personally, I enjoy the technical art, the graphic art design of it. So someone right there comments right, Miami Vice look. Now, what's really cool about Miami and that is that it's sort of a neo Art Deco revival of the time with a certain Broadway typeface that it has, the colors that it uses, the very thin lines, the geometric lines, parallel lines, concentric circles, so on and so forth. So there's a real technical aspect that can go into it. And that's really what I enjoy, because I don't want to just plaster Jurassic Park and Lethal Weapon and Top Gun and Back to the Future all in like one picture just to like overload your senses of member berries. Again, if that's what you want, that's all fine and dandy. But I think there can be a deeper approach to it. At first, people can definitely recognize, or at least I hope so, when I make the art that I do, they can recognize, oh yeah, that looks retro, that looks 80s, 90s, whatever. But if anyone can understand a little bit more, hopefully they can at least see where I'm going.
Yeah, I mean that's so one of the things I see, like the first thing I noticed about you and your page, like when we first linked up, like which I think was probably like a year ago or more now at this point, but it was a minute ago. The first thing I picked up was the art, because like I'm not like a super artistic dude. I can, when it comes to like painting guns and doing shit, like yeah, I could get artsy, right? But like for the most part, when it comes to art, I would consider myself more of a consumer than
Oh
somebody
yeah, that's fine. I mean, part of
like,
the aesthetic, or at least specifically for vaporwave, part of the art was kind of some of it can be kind of a social commentary on the time frame of consumerism, right? That booming capitalism of the 90s, right? Or the 80s. And with the things that they incorporate, the colors they use, the pictures, the rhythm, the composition of the art style, they all have their own reasons for being there. And so whether you look at it like that or just look at pretty pink and blue gradients and some nice sunsets and palm trees, either way, as long as you can enjoy it, I
yeah.
think that's what I just try to convey best.
I
And
mean,
see, even some people here saying, Memorex cassette tapes. I definitely have a bunch of blank cassette tapes.
yeah,
Can't be a 90s kid born in the 90s. Again, it's a big debate. Technically, born in 90s, yeah, sure. I'm really more of a 2000s kid, I guess. But growing up, not having that much, a lot of things from the 90s just still carried over to the 2000s for me, like with hand-me-down
yeah.
clothes, or, still running out VHS tapes while everyone else fucking has DVDs, whatever it is. I'm sure people will tell me I'm not really a 90s kid. Everyone else says I am. Whatever. I just
Yeah,
love the art.
it kind of like, so I was born in the 80s, but I grew up in the 90s. But like you're saying, so I had a sibling that was 10 years older than me, so I kind of still felt like I was part of a time before me. You know what I
Sure.
mean? So it's different, right? Like it really depends on a lot of cultural shit and situational stuff, like how'd you grow up, would you grow up around, like you said, not having a lot, like everything was all hand-me-downs. I remember when a neighbor actually gave me my first pair of Jinkos, and it was the dopest thing in the world. And I mean, Jinkos are already crazy baggy, right? But like, they were so big, it was
They're
like,
just swimming in those fuckers.
yeah, it was absolutely obnoxious, but I still rocked them like
Yeah.
crazy. But no, I was saying though, like when I first saw like your art, I like the pictures, and I could, you know, usually I'll just look at something and be like, oh, that's kind of a this vibe, right? But I could actually look and look at, like, you know, the filter of a picture, the things that are in the picture, you know, you have like the VCR filter on it with the little record thing, and it's just got,
Yeah. So
you can pick up the font, you know, so I could pick up
yeah.
a,
So,
so
man, that stuff's so fun for me. And I so two schools of thoughts here that I'm gonna dive into. One is that I like to tell people I'm a 90s kid. Again, the mentality for me is that a lot of things from the 90s carried over or stuck with it. Think of like the old Taco Bell designs, right? Remember like the
mm-hmm.
pink and blue and the geometric, like the circle and triangles they just had in the restaurant layout.
Yeah.
Um, there's this one bank. So I grew up in Toms River, New Jersey. There's this one bank. It used to be called Commerce Bank. And I swear to God, this thing was stuck in the 90s from the interior design. Just the way that like the black shiny look, the plants, the geometry, the carpets, the lining. It just, if you look in it, you're gonna know that you're walking into a different timeline. Like I said, the mall that I went to as a kid, the clothes we had, still playing Sega Genesis or N64, like growing up with like shit. I still play that till high school. I still have one right now, and
Yeah.
I still listen to to mixtapes and then burn CDs. So there's a lot of aspects growing up that were reminiscent of the 90s, but naturally, you know, a lot of things that I had growing up were more specifically reminiscent of the early 2000s, like burn CDs, or I never used it, but I know
Yeah.
LimeWire was such a big deal.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Huge.
yeah, a lot of that, a lot of the video games too, or say for example, like it's just there's different things about it that a lot of parts of it were 2000s, a lot of it was 90s, and
Yeah. I think honestly, that's like shit like LimeWire and all those, like, that literally set off like the like you mentioned consumerism, right? And like how everybody has gone to this like just pure life of consumerism and convenience. LimeWire is like where we are with porn is because of
oh
LimeWire.
yeah, man,
On fucking type it in, boom, and it's there, downloaded, boom, and it's kind of like, you know, it's just been
yeah.
like expression of that. But anyway, going back to one thing, you mentioned something. You had only done a couple classes, like you did a carbine course with your AKs, and like going back a little bit, what originally like got you into shooting?
Um, that's a very good question. I mean, I'm sure like most people here, you know, video games and movies are a very big influence on them, which is an ironic thing because people in Hollywood are so anti-gun, but they're the ones honestly making like probably strong like 60% of people into guns in the first place. But as
Yeah.
a kid, I always liked the military with their guns, their uniforms, right? The BDUs, especially growing up. My oldest brother joined and he left in 2006. And so he was pretty much the reason why I joined. Um,
Hmm.
but yeah, the military and then movies and TV shows, the big influence for me as to why I like guns, video games. As a kid, I always loved the M16 and just all the American guns and all that fun stuff. Much later on, to really appreciate a lot of non-American guns, which I'm going to be honest, they're usually a lot cooler than American stuff.
Yeah.
Like, you know, the AR-15 is really nice and all, and so is the 1911. But I got to be honest, like, I don't really like Europeans that much, but the guns they make are pretty sick.
They're I mean, some of the dopest guns I got are, now granted, like, you know, one, I have a SIG SBR. It's like the SIG 55X series, right? It's
Mhm.
the, you know, SIG 556 SWAT SBR, and it's not directly from, you know, their Swiss whatever. It's SIG USA, but it was before they
Sure.
started selling dick. That thing is fire, and I'd say out of my collection, because I would almost classify Glocks as American now because of,
Which, yeah, I mean,
it's basically become like almost all Glocks are built with not even Glock parts nowadays, you know?
yeah, I mean, that's a fair argument. I see. I really appreciate Glocks for the aspect of if you look at different, say, industries, hobbies, interests, what have you. I like Glock's story about it because they weren't making firearms in the first place, and so completely like unhinged or not influenced by anyone on the not any outside influences. They made a gun from the ground up that worked, and I like that. I always really appreciated anyone who just had kind of no restrictions, were or rather they just weren't influenced by others or told others how to do something. They had the guidelines, they knew what to do, and they made something like completely unique. And I say
Yeah.
that in the aspect of, original creators, artists, what have you. Now,
Yeah.
another this is kind of going off tangent, it's not even related to guns, but so I like reading poetry, like Emily Dickinson, same
Hmm.
kind of way. This woman's like a recluse, never leaves her house or room, and is one of like most legendary American writers of the time, right? Just a really big name for herself. And
Hmm.
I appreciate that about Glock because look at probably like one of the leading names for pistols, and it's just from a guy who just they saw the parameter set made for a service pistol and just like outclassed everyone else. So even though I don't have any Glocks, I've never had a Glock. I really appreciate the upbringing. Also, because in Die Hard 2, the Glock 7 was being a porcelain gun is like the funniest thing ever.
Dude, it's we still make jokes about that shit. The Glock 7, it's made out of porcelain and plastic, and those things get through metal detectors. Costs
Yeah,
as much
right.
as
Costs more
$2 months.
than what you make in a month.
Yeah, like, dude, come on. Yeah, it's crazy. But you're right though. Like when Glock, so prior to that, Glock was making polymer, Tupperware and shower curtains and shit like that. And then they were like, you know what? We're gonna come and just totally shit on this industry
Yeah.
and dominate it, right? Like, at that point you had, a few guns that were basically running the industry, totally dominating the industry. You had revolvers, of course, you had 1911s, and then you started to get into some of the double action like Smith and Wessons around that time, and
Oh
like
yeah.
Glock just totally knocked it out of the water and was like, all right, we're gonna build something that no one has ever done before.
Yeah.
Everyone was hitting on them. Everyone was like, it's plastic, it won't work. And goddamn, I mean, the same exact design nearly is still in use today. Like I can take the guts and the slides and shit from my Gen 2s from the 90s and throw them on my Gen 3s from 2015, you know?
Yeah, like I said, I respect Glocks. Like I said, they're very functionally, they work well, they kick ass, they're reliable, and it's all the things that you would need in a pistol. Personally, my one gripe is like anyone else's, the sights. I really do not like the notch or like bracket rear sight.
Yeah.
I also don't understand why they're polymer. I don't know why they can't make them like aluminum like everyone else. But
I think
at the
in the
same time,
I think they were trying to be cheap and cool and be like, "Oh, check us out. We're making plastic shit, right?" It, but I mean, all they are is dovetail protectors. Like the first thing you need to do when you get a Glock is, change those things out. Yeah,
yeah, I don't understand either. Like, and I've seen pictures and a lot of stuff where they're breaking. It's like the one thing you don't want broken on it, like from the get go, is your goddamn sights. So, whatever.
yeah,
And funny enough, like I have friends who have stock Glocks. I've shot like the Polymer 80, the custom Glocks with Trigicons or iron sights. I'm just not good with Glocks. I don't know what it is. There's always those gun brands where no matter what, you just can't shoot well. And whenever I do it at the steel plates, whatever, I fucking miss half the time. I'm not good at Glocks, man.
yeah. I mean, it's so much of so the grip angle, the thickness of it. There's so many things that kind of are individual about pistol grip size and trigger
Mhm.
and all that because everything about how your hands fit the gun and how your hands fit the grip of a gun are going to show up in your trigger pull, and that's going to impact everything else, so I mean, if with a factory Glock you don't feel like you shoot very well, then try. You said you have tried out polymer 80s and it didn't.
Yeah, I've tried the polymer 80s, the with RMRs, with iron sights, what have you. Just I don't know what it is, man.
Yeah.
I've had the Apex triggers, the factory triggers, whatever it is. Glocks and I just don't get along.
Yeah. I think in the beginning I couldn't shoot a Glock worth of shit, and I think I'm just so goddamn stubborn that I just would not give up. But I mean, I will, like, dude, 1911s, Berettas, I can shoot them like crazy. I actually had a couple younger dudes that were shooting next to me at the range, and I went there. I just brought my gun belt with my Beretta, and I was shooting, and I started putting up the quarter size stickers on the cardboard, and I just used those to for like drawing from the holster. And they were like, dude, your accuracy is like insane. Like, I need to get a Beretta. And they had a Shadow Systems Glock, right? It's a Glock. It's just made by Shadow Systems. And I've never shot at that time. I hadn't shot it's like a DR 920p. It's kind of like a full-size Glock 17, but it's got a compensator on it built in. It's dope because the front sight is actually like built into the compensator, so it like barely moves. I mean, it's dope as shit. And the dude was like, if you got 9mm ammo, you can shoot it. So I grabbed it and I shot it, and I swear to God, dude, I put like 6-7 rounds and a quarter size target at, like, it was just like 7 yards. But even I was surprised. I was like, damn, that shit was actually super. Damn, maybe I don't need a Beretta. Maybe I just need to shoot more.
Hey. No, we don't need that blasphemy around here, right?
Yeah, right.
Everyone needs a Beretta, okay? I mean,
you're right.
granted,
You're right.
my influence of having the Beretta, like 92FS, M9, whatever, is also military, and also, but like it's always like the go-to for like police in like the 90s movie thing, like John Woo movies, Rush Hour. I swear to God, Rush Hour is like sponsored by Beretta. Lethal Weapon, Die Hard. I like the movie guns, so I just had to have the ones. My main like purpose sidearm, right, is the M9A1, so it has a streamlight on it. But I love just the basic 92FS, and to a lot of my friends, the grip, is the pistol grip itself is just too big, and I totally get it. It is a big one, but I just keep it factory. I fucking love it. It fits my hands well, and I kick ass with it.
Yeah, it's a great gun. I got 92FS, and then currently in like on my kit is the M9A3, and I love it. I mean, the thing is stupid accurate. I will say though, the trigger in the M9A3 deuces on the 92FS, like it's crazy. That's Have you done anything with your trigger, like done the Wilson Combat?
No. So when it comes to most of my guns, the trigger is like the last thing I ever changed, because, and I know they can make a big impact on your performance to an extent, but like I said, so the reason I got the 92FS is because of movies, right? I just leave it stock as it is. I don't change the trigger. It just works well enough for me, so I don't really care. But I personally would practice a lot more on my skills as a shooter with trigger press, trigger pull, sight alignment, sight picture, and all that good stuff before getting to upgrade parts on a rifle for anything serious anyway. And at least on my philosophy of a sidearm being used for, like, it's your side piece, right? Close quarters, 25 yards. If I have to make shots, what have you, with my M9A1, I'll hit a man-sized target at a necessity. It's always good to really get as much as you can out of your pistol. If you want to get those 1-inch groups at 25 yards with it, all for it. For me, I'm more of a just hit center of mass kind of thing. It's sort of the same philosophy with AKs. Like on my arsenal, I could ping steel at 300 yards, no problem. Like I don't know what it is, but me and iron sights are like a married couple. I just ping them left and right. So I like factory guns. So
yeah, I'm with you. I do love iron sights. It's probably been like 2 years, 2.5, I don't know, maybe 3 years into like shifting into optics and optics on a pistol, and that took me a minute. But when it comes to like my, like, actual gear. So I got a bunch of guns that I build and shoot and love. But when it comes to like going shooting, I was just talking to my friend, Flying Rich. He comes on the show all the time. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go to the range, and he's like, what are you gonna shoot? I was like, I'm gonna shoot my go-to rifle and which is a 10.3 inch 5.56, and my sidearm, which is the Beretta M9A3. Like that's the shit. Like I just spend way more time using the guns like that. If shit went down, these are the guns that I'm going to grab, and those are the ones that I'm, shoot as much as I can to get as much time behind them.
I like this one comment says, "Wish my eyes were still good enough for irons to work well." You see, that's the fun thing is because humble brag right now. I have like perfect vision. I don't have like color blindness and stuff. Okay, well, I have like 95% perfect vision. I have astigmatism, but when it comes to just like seeing distance, close, whatever, I don't use glasses. I don't use reading glasses, nothing. My hearing is compromised, but at least my eyes work well. So iron sights, I've just always enjoyed them. Like I said, just line them up, have at least the front sight post like a dead center of a target, and you're gonna hit it like 95% of the time if you're not an absolute dog shit shooter. So I'm a practical guy, and I will absolutely admit that Beretta's like factory trigger, that thing is not that great at all. It's just so much slop in it. Like the take up is not great. The double action is really long compared to other guns.
The double action is tough. It's tough. And Ting Ting, to answer your question, so yes, and there's a couple other ways you can do it. So if you're going to be installing or drifting a rear sight, installing it in, there's a bunch of different things you could do. You could use a wooden dowel. You could just using a steel punch. There's going to be shit all over your sight. I was actually looking at a slide with sights installed on it to purchase, and I zoomed in on it, and this dude, I swear to God, he just took a fucking hammer and was like bang bang, just beat the ever-loving dog shit out of it. So what I started using, I don't even use the like sight tool, like, and I had a couple that I was selling on DLD hardware, and I just fucking stopped using them. So if I'm replacing sights, what I use now, and y'all are gonna make fun of me, is the AR takedown tool. So I got the whole kit now, but this shit is the best. So it's got a punch on one side, right? A thick punch on one side. So when you need to make a lot of fucking, energy to move that shit, across your dovetail, you can use the larger one, and then the smaller one for when you need to make like minor adjustments. But this is literally a hammer and a punch in one, and no matter how much brass you freaking slam on the sight, you can literally just take some solvent or oil and whoop, like wipe it right up, and it's clean. But this, it's a hammer system and a punch in one. And the AR takedown tool, they're friends of the channel. They're fucking awesome. They sent me this stuff for building. I use it for, you need to punch AR pins, you need to punch in or out Glock pins or sights, or I've used it for like everything you can think of. You line that shit up, right? You put it on either put it on a block or a vise or whatever, and you just grab it, line it up, boom. And this thing, I think they said it creates like, I don't know, 8,000 psi just by like flicking that shit. It's crazy. And 4 to 5 whacks, you'll have the sights like almost, dead center, and then just switch to the smaller one and do little baby whacks and get that thing in. Dude, it's so satisfying too. And even though you're really not supposed to, if you go a little too far, you can just turn it around and just go, get it back the other way. But I love it. So shout out to AR Takedown Tool. And if you guys want to help, go to AR Takedown Tool on Instagram and just show them some love, like their page, leave a comment, and just be like, DLD After Dark was showing your tool on his show, and you guys are awesome. Something like that. They'll appreciate it.
These a lot of these chat comments are hilarious to me. It's funny because I see a lot of people here seem to have more problems with vision, but I'm so used to myself and a lot of my friends have hearing problems because So I was in aircraft maintenance, like just shy of 7 years. Um, and I have hearing aids. I don't have them on right now, but I have hearing aids, whatever, hearing impaired. I'm on disability for it, like anyone in the military would be. And so, so the one blessing I count, whatever, is my eyesight, and so I'm able to run irons on any rifle, any pistol, pretty well. Um, my problem with hearing is that it's not that I can't hear. Well, it's also tinnitus, but it's not that I can't hear. I have really bad problems just distinguishing sound. So right now you're fine, but typically in person or even just watching movies or anything, when people talk either too fast or their words they sound very similar, it's hard for me to actually distinguish what they're saying. When when you say words like "that cat has a fat hat," and I'm like, I what? And so I just lean in, and I always do this. Not that I can't hear, but I need people to slow
Oh,
down.
man push.
Oh yeah, dude, I do it all the time. I feel like it can be just so embarrassing because there'll be no one in the room. It'll just be me and like I don't know the cashier at the store, and they'll say something, and I'm like, what? Like,
Huh?
slow down, man, slow down.
You need one of those like horns, like
I have the modern version of those horns. They're called hearing aids, and actually, they don't really work that well. They worked for like the first 6 months of using them, and then they stopped helping. So I don't ever
dude.
really wear them anymore.
You know what damaged my hearing more than anything? Like I've shot just without ear pro a lot when I was younger, and mostly just like 22s and 9s and shit. So it wasn't crazy, but doing it for years and years and years. And then I got a couple suppressors, and then it's like, okay, it's not as bad, but it's still technically not safe, right? And
Yeah.
the one thing that really stuck with me, I mean, I literally could tell after this event my hearing was impaired, was my buddy had a Saiga in 308, and dude, with no ear pro, when we put, I don't know, 150 rounds through it, dude, it was at the point where it just I literally had to like plug my ears, like it was so bad. So now my wife would hate it because I'd always be like, huh, what'd you say, huh, what, like, huh. And I just like needing people to repeat shit. But for the most part, it's not too bad. It's just kind of small things, like not to the
Yeah,
necessity
yeah.
like hearing aids or anything. Gerchop, he was in the Air Force. What'd you do
Uh,
in the Air Force, by the way?
I was a KC-135 crew chief, so aircraft maintenance. Um, I had one uneventful and boring deployment in Qatar, which is cupcake deployment. Um, so the funny thing is, when I was getting out, I can't even believe it's been this long already. Like I separated 2 years ago. Um,
Mhm.
yeah, time really flies by. And so when my people like my family or whatever were asking me why I needed hearing aids and all that stuff, it's like I tell them, it was because of the job, a lot of loud noises, banging, whatever. And they're like, "Didn't you wear Hear Pro?" It's like, wow, that's really funny. Yeah, I absolutely did wear it. But when the entire hangar, like you're talking, like all these shops are working in the jet at once, or that jet's taking off, or this mule is going off, or that power cart's on, or the turbine generators going on, or literally someone dropping a flashlight on one of the wing stands is deafening, especially in a giant hangar, and it's just that little stuff builds up over time. The one thing that solidified, like when I believe I was like the starting point when my hearing was just bad or was compromised, my first week out to the deed. So it's called Al Udeid Air Base in Qatar. The first week. So it used to be the KC-135s were on the same ramp as the B-1s, the bombers. In case you don't know, B-1 bomber has 4 F-16 engines strapped on it. Literally the same engines as the F-16s, right? And when they do
Yeah.
their engine runs, they do it for hours and hours on end. And just coincidentally, the first day, like one of the first times we have a job out there, I'm working under the jet, and right across from us is the B1, and they're doing engine runs for no shit, like all 12 hours. I'm working out there, and I
Huh.
didn't know. No one told me about that. I didn't have Hear Pro with me. We didn't have like any in our toolbox or anything. So I'm sitting outside doing whatever I'm doing, and this thing is just blaring all the just whole thing. It's bad. Like that thing's screeching. It's very painful. Um, as for that question, so it's not KC 130. It's KC 135. It's the strata tanker. Aero refueling. The Ghost
Okay.
AK patch that I have now. First things first, I did not design it. It is inspired from World War II Ghost Company. It's literally the same thing. The only thing I changed in it was that the AK is present and that there's like the third hole, like in the mouth hole for the ghost. The original ghost patch design is just a ghost and he's doing his little lightning thing. All it is was it's kind of like a counterintelligence thing where they would inflate tanks and bases and make like fake airstrips and fake airplanes to confuse enemy intelligence.
Mm.
They did in World War II. It was really cool. They had a pretty cool story, and the patch design is very iconic. And I don't know why. I just saw that patch and thought I was like, I could use an AK, and I just tossed it on there. And dude, I'll be honest, that's what legit blew up Kalash Wave in the first place. And
Damn, that's
there's
pretty
a
dope.
funny irony about it because like when Kalash Wave was first getting started, the things that I was selling like patches and sticker wise, honestly, nothing really like look reminiscent of like that retro 80s colors and designs and neon what have you. And
Mhm.
it was just kind of like there was the front toward ATF Claymore patches, like I said, the ghost patches and stickers.
Which is awesome, by the way.
Oh, thank you. There are, for anyone watching, there's olive drab and flat dark earth ghost patches available. They're embroidered. Because
Nice.
originally these were PVC or the like the green, black, white, red, they're PVC.
And are those available on your big cartel or where
Oh
can
yeah.
I?
Oh yeah, they're the stickers and the patches are available. So if you want to get a sticker to slap it on your water bottle and put the patch on your plate carrier, they're there. I will note the olive drab and flat dark earth embroidered patches are unbacked, so you can either sew them on or glue them on a shirt, or you can just get a little Velcro backing and just cut it out. Um, People
Yeah.
ask why I did that, but it really just makes it a lot more inexpensive. There, you can get a bunch of them. Um, I'm the kind of guy who likes to commit to things to an extent, so I took one of the olive drab patches and sewed it onto one of my jackets. I love it. I
Oh yeah.
probably should have made it Velcro, but people didn't complain.
You actually just you mentioned something a minute ago I forgot to hit on really quickly. And then we need to tell them exactly where they can go to get the patches. But so I used to work at FedEx at an airport, and they would always give us ear pro because there was constantly fucking planes just I mean, obviously they weren't like, F-16 jet engines, right? But I mean, it was loud as hell. And even when you were inside and the bay doors were all open, it was loud as hell. And that was right around the same time that we were shooting a lot without ear pro. So,
Yeah,
it combination.
I've had my I've had my few shots without Here Pro. I did like one or two by mistake. Now again, context is important. If you're shooting like an indoor range where there's like 8 other people shooting in this like enclosed environment, that's fucking bad.
Yeah.
I shot my arsenal like once or twice without Here Pro, but I was so this was in Idaho. So there's even two different settings. So in southern Idaho, it's very arid. It's like a desert down there. It really is.
Mm.
So I shot outside. I'm on top of this big rocky hill with my arsenal. I shot it once and I was like, oh, I should put on my Here Pro. And it was loud, but it wasn't that bad. And then when I've shot in like the dense woods in like northern Idaho, like very dense forest, right? Big,
Mhm.
huge pine trees and everything. This shit fucking echoes so loud in there. It's unbelievable. And so I've done it there, and it's again different story because the setting you're in can really make that big impact on your hearing. And
Have you?
the occasional time where like the stock, because I have a proclivity to really dig my face and like my shoulder in the stock. So
Yeah.
occasionally I'll end up like pushing the bottom of the Hero Pro like just up a bit, and it like opens that seal, and so the guns are very loud, obviously. So when you
Yeah.
shoot, it just kind of really rings.
It'll pop right up in there.
Yeah, but you
Yeah.
know,
I'm kind of the same way. Like when I shoulder, so I'm shooting mostly ARs. I still love my AKs, right? I usually, the way I say it is like this. I got my AKs in the back of the safe and my ARs in the front of the safe. I still love both very much. But no shade. I still love my AKs. But I dig my rifle in pretty hard, and I'm like nose to the charging handle. Fucking cheek is like, pushed up like
Yeah,
I'm on there tight. Like it is a legitimate like body hug,
dude, man, I
But
feel like there is something missing today. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt.
oh no, you're good. You're good. But I was gonna ask, have you ever discharged or been around when a firearm was discharged in a very small confined space?
Small confined space, like you mean,
Yeah,
like assuming without Here Pro.
yeah, like some like
Um,
a room or
no, I haven't shot inside of a car. I know that's one instance where people go training in like the junk cars, whatever. I have
yeah.
not shot inside something like that. No, I've never really been. Anytime I did have Hearing Pro like deliberately off to try to just see how it feels, it was always outside. I've shot 22 or 25 ACP without Hearing Pro. It's a very poppy sound,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
no, never in a big confined space,
It,
really.
it's it's something that like I mean the concussion in your chest, the feeling in your teeth. I mean you can feel it in your sinuses. Like when I was
Oh,
in a
man.
car when there was an accidental discharge and everyone
Negligent.
was okay, right?
Yeah.
The CD player, everyone was okay. But man, you don't even hear it at first. It's just automatically, you're,
Yeah.
you know, and like
Believe-
that
yeah.
feeling in your chest and teeth and sinuses is just like, holy shit.
Yeah. So naturally, I haven't had that one distinct loud sound at once, like a gunshot. But my experience over time, if anyone here has ever been around a B-1 bomber, so when they take off, they always have their afterburners out, like they're going full thrust because they have to. They're just very heavy jets,
Mm-hmm.
and I shit you not, man, they shake the earth that you're on. If you've ever been on like this is a very kind of unique situation. Not many people are in this situation, but if you're on the flight line and you're there when a B1 takes off, man, they just shake the whole earth, your chest, everything. Like they go off like
Wow.
crazy. Yeah, like you think, even four engines on the KC-135's kind of already overkill for the jet that it is. But like B1s, they rumble the ground, and you can watch videos about that nice bright blue afterburner, how loud they get, but until you're right there when they're taking off, you'll never you'll never know how much that shit just shakes the earth and your chest.
Yeah.
It feels
That's
like
crazy.
you're in front of a speaker at a concert, you know.
I remember when, like I would hear Concords fly by in the sky. I mean, it would be
Mhm.
crazy, but still like that. I mean, I couldn't imagine like enduring something like that for like a long period of time. Like that's that's intense. Are you I don't think we've ever talked about this. Are you a knife guy at all? Or are you just kind of a carry whatever you got?
I have like just one decent little Kershaw that I've just carried here and there. I used to be a big knife guy before I was really. So when I was living in the dorms on base, now you
Mhm.
can buy guns when you're in the dorms. However, per their rules, they must be kept in like the SecFo, the cop armory. Although that's a bad idea because these dickheads like to take your guns out and go shoot them. So I never did that. But when I was in that time where I didn't buy guns, yeah, I had like fixed blades and pocket knives and all that stuff. I
Let me
still
guess.
have.
You love K bars.
I do. I don't own a K bar. I know a lot of people don't really like this, but I was a fan of like Gerber for their fixed blades. Like I know they can be kind of a joke with some of the things they sell, but their fixed blades legit kick ass.
Dude, they're solid. They're solid.
They
I've
well,
on
I know they.
I
I'm
rock
sorry,
a
what?
Gerber. Yeah.
Because some of the marketing that they had was like goofy. They had like this one little flip up little pocket knife. It was like it's called like mini swagger or something like that. So some of their stuff was admittedly pretty goofy, but when you spent like the extra money on their nicer stuff, like their fixed blades, like full tang and everything, they were really nice and they held up very well, at least for me.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I don't fuck with their folders right now. I'm not saying like there's going to be a lot of people out there. Hey, what's up, Corn Pop? Good to see you. Um,
Corn
I,
poppies.
I I don't fuck with Gerber folders. There's going to be a lot of people out there that probably have Gerber folders in their pockets right now, and I'm not saying they're not good. If it works for you and you can get it out and deploy it quickly, and it's your go-to tool, like that's awesome. But they're fixed blades. I got the Gerber like LFO or something like that on my plate carrier. That thing's been great. Um, I've done everything from baton through wood to open a deer to fuck. I mean, I've done everything with that shit. It's been great. Um, Folders though, I go. So I just bought a my first Spyderco. Right. I'm a cold steel guy. I'll get a hell of a work knife for like sub $100, but this Spyderco right here, I forgot
Yeah.
his name, like Jim Janik or Jancic or something like that designed this one. I met him at SHOT Show this past year, and
Yeah.
uh, it's a hell of a design, man. It's a Warncliffe style, but it's kind of like missing is like
Mhm.
a razor. It's
Yeah.
30 steel, something like that. And the one thing it doesn't have that I love is when I'm carrying a pocket knife, I love having the wave feature that when you take it out of your pocket, it opens up like on the way out. It catches here,
Uh-huh.
then it opens
So
up, take it out. But this company that makes them, I think I have one right
I'm
over
not
here.
sure if I would like that feature, honestly. I'm more of like a whole like I'm a very deliberate guy with that stuff. Like if I want my knife to open, like I want a knife to open like when I'm doing it, and I
Yeah,
feel like at least with my luck, I would have problems with just taking it out and it opening when I don't want it to.
you can.
It's like when your car is like beeping to tell you to put your seatbelt on, and I'm like, I don't want to put my seatbelt on. Like I don't
Uh,
need you to tell me when to brake either. Like
yeah, I hate that shit. You can, once you get used to it, you can take it out of your pocket without opening it. But
yeah.
when you take it out, if you slide it back to the very back of your pocket and run it against the corner, then it'll open. It's still
Mm,
deliberate, I will say that, but it takes a little getting used to. But it's
yeah.
super quick and snappy, and it's great.
Yeah.
And this company Snaggletooth makes like for knives that don't have that feature, they make a little addition like when there's a thumb stud, but there's no thumb stud on this. So in Snaggletooth's defense, I did reach out to them first, and I tried to ask them like, "Yo, do you guys
Mhm.
make anything for the Yo Jumbo?" Which they don't. So I found this company. It's called 5x5 Combat Solutions, and they make a little wave that actually like clamps. You got to screw it down. It clamps to the little thumb hole here, and it pops up. So you don't have to open it when you draw it out the pocket,
Yeah.
but you can open it when you draw it out the pocket. It
The
just depends
option is
on what
there.
angle you pull it out. You know?
The one time I legitimately had a real situation where you need to use a knife was the one time I didn't have it. Okay, so in the maintenance complex for the Air Force, you're not allowed to have personal tools, right? Each and every tool that has ever issued has a barcode and like a fucking uh, scan code, whatever. Like even for my squadron specifically, uh, they always started with MKMI. The other squadron was MKAM. Like they all like they're very specific, right? And so no
Yeah.
personal tools are allowed. So most people have a pocket knife. You're not supposed to have it, but you kind of know that you have one. And if you do have one, you're not supposed to have it like clipped to your pocket where you can see it. If you do have it, you're supposed to kind of just like tuck it in your cargo pants. In any case,
Yeah.
this one time, and I did not have a pocket knife on me. There was a car. I was at a red light on the way back from home because I was on lunch. So I went home to get food and come back,
Hmm.
and sitting at a red light, and this one person goes to like turn, and this other person like ran a red light and flipped the car over. And so I got out and I like ran to it, and the lady was in there, but she had her seatbelt but like pressed against it, so you couldn't press the button. And so I had to cut the seatbelt. But this is the one time I didn't have a knife, and like thank God someone else had the like a
Oh,
knife with them, and I like cut him free from the seatbelt and got him out.
damn.
Yeah,
That's
that's like my one. That's like my once in a lifetime hero moment. It's really funny. It was like all the people there to help. The moment I got out of the vehicle to help this lady out, they were all gone. They just disappeared. So I mean, I don't blame them. Whatever. I'm sure they have busy things to do, but
yeah. I could never live with myself if I saw something like that happen. The funny thing is that people probably whipped out their phone like, damn, or if it wasn't,
yeah. Fortunately, actually, no one had their phone out. I surprisingly like no one. I didn't see anyone call 911 until like after we had her seated, like seated down against the wall, and it was like 100 degrees. It was a hot goddamn day in summer too, and I was just sweating my ass off. And she was okay. But let's see. As to answer that question, is that an unauthorized tool? So yeah, personal tools are unauthorized. So like I said, technically when you're in maintenance, any tool you use has to be like issued out to you, or just from the actual Air Force itself. Like you can't bring your own pocket knife, you can't bring your own multi-tool, because that stuff's a problem. Because besides the fact they can't track it as far as who has it, it's also a problem because people get more complacent with their own personal tools. Like, oh, I'll just pull out my pocket knife and fuck something up or leave it on the jet. And yes, it's considered it all, like pretty much everything's considered FOD, which is foreign object damage. So using your own thing is a big problem. And for the comment, serialized registration for tools, woke ass military. My brother in Christ, that's been around for a while. Like tool accountability is such a big thing, at least in the Air Force for that. So every tool, like every single one, something that's not a consumable item, like a washer or a nut, yeah, they all have a laser etched tool number.
Oh, it's laser etched on it?
Yeah, they're laser etched, and they have a barcode, so they check it out. There's a tool crib called CTK where there's guys who get tools and check it out. And if you check out a whole toolbox, and you have to read the mill, which has, say, there's like 5 wrenches, 2 ratchets, and like 10 sockets. And so when you look at the mill, you have to make sure there's, like, let's say a total of 20 items. You have to make sure that you have all 20 items in there. And if something's broken, it has to be made known in the actual mill that it's broken, removed. Like tool accountability is a massive, massive thing, very harped into, because it's stuff like a socket inside of an engine or in this compartment that will, like, that's detriment. That's detriment to like for aircraft. So
It could be catastrophic if some
yes,
left. Hey, Dan, thanks, man.
nice.
Being a channel member, man. Thank you, brother. I appreciate you.
Nice August Burns Red banner. Thank you very much. I am obsessed with August Burns Red, and I have been since like 15 years ago. And I absolutely have an August Burns Red tattoo. And
What
he got it. So he said August Burns Red banner. So right there is a flag banner from one of the albums of this band called August Burns Red, metal band. I've been a fan of them.
Was a silhouette target. I'm not gonna lie.
No, it's a banner. So this is an album from them called Phantom Anthem. I think it was like 6 years ago it came out, but it's one of my favorite ones. And one of my tattoos is actually, I don't know if you can see it. So it's the wolf from Guardians. The rose is kind of hinted from Phantom Anthem, and I have their logo right up there.
Nice.
I love it. But
yeah.
Is military buy Snap-on? Dude, I'm sure the Air Force exclusively uses Snap-on. Every toolbox, every wrench, almost everything was Snap-on. And it's also the reason why I stick to Streamlight for my flashlight, my pistol light, my rifle light, because they use Streamlights, the rechargeable ones that you press against the wall. Yeah. I swear to God, they use these things more as hammers, more than hammers themselves. And those things, they fall off aircraft, they get thrown around, they get covered in like fucking hydro, whatever. I don't know how Snap-on makes these things indestructible, but they do. And like, I trust Streamlight from my experience in maintenance, and I know that the flashlights I have aren't the same ones as they use there, but if they have the consistent quality on board, yeah, they kick ass. Streamlight. Yeah.
Yeah, Streamlight has been so solid. Like I admire Surefire, right? But Streamlight my go-to for everything. Even my now retired, my oldest rifle light, which at the time this was like fucking, the dopest flashlight around. This is like a 350 lumen.
Yeah,
you
you
know.
gotta let me. Yeah, let me. If you don't mind me for a second, I'll get one of my favorite flashlights here in a second.
Yeah, go ahead. This is, I will say, I still love the VLTOR offset QD with the American Defense mount. This thing's great. If I can find a way to get a goon beam in there, I'm definitely going to do that. The only reason I switched from a lot of Streamlight stuff is when I found Goon Beam, who he's a guy, he's in our communities, and he was in the show earlier. He makes his own flashlights, and these fucking things, dude, I swear to God, this one's like 110,000 lumens, and you like it's crazy. You go outside and shine it up like it's like a saber.
You get a warning from the FAA probably because you're shining.
Yeah.
So now the real important question is, if you can't beat anybody with your flashlight, is it really worth having? Because something like this is probably you should have more often on, good old mag light.
Oh yeah.
This thing is like so terrible with its lumens and all that. But so my stepdad, he has this one. He gave me this one as a gift, but he has like the even longer one. Mm-hmm. And these things are just so cool. I've actually like taped this to my AR before just because it was funny. But I love these things. They're so hefty. Like if you really want to smack someone down with this, will fucking put the hurt on you,
dude. I can tell you from secondhand experience, a family member of mine was attacked a long time ago, like 3 times the amount of time that the statute of limitations would be. Just throwing that out there. And to preserve his own life and the life of the people around him, the only thing he had handy was a mag light. So he just, kindly opened up this guy's head with a mag. The dude lived to tell the tale. But man, if there's anything I learned, you do not fucks with the mag lights.
No, these things got some mass to it too, man.
I can still do this if needed, but man, it doesn't hold a candle to the leverage of the mag light.
If I remember correctly, I think these are banned in New Jersey. I don't think civilians can actually own this. I'm not sure. I could have sworn I read it. It sounds outlandish to be true, but it is New Jersey.
Everything is banned in New Jersey.
Yeah, and you don't really think about it much because they're such simple tools. But like a lot of states have bans on like billy clubs, cudgels, and maces, and all the stuff that you don't think about because you're like, who the fuck really has it? But like even just like surplus batons aren't allowed in some states. So I don't know for sure, but I'm pretty sure this is not like allowed, is illegal in New Jersey for civilians. I'm sure cops, of course, will still fucking have it.
Yeah, if anybody knows out there, if we got any Jersey.
Also, someone asked there if I got to go off base. Okay, so you don't live on base like your whole life, so it's really simple. You go to, at least again, I'm only in the Air Force. I don't know how the rest of the things go. I went to the basic training for 8.5 weeks at Lackland Air Force Base in Texas. I spent 3 months in tech school in Shepherd Air Force Base in Texas. So you have a lot less restrictions there. You get to, on the weekends, you get to, after some time, you get to go around base and do your thing. You can go off base if you have a car or go bus. Like your freedom, like the freedom, it really goes substantially up comparatively speaking. When you leave basic and you go to tech school, you feel like you're like a kid at a candy store. You can almost do whatever you want. And then once you get stationed somewhere, I got stationed at McConnell Air Force Base in Kansas. Once you go off there, it's like a normal adult. You go to base. Normally you are in the dorms because typically you're stationed out somewhere that you've never been. I grew up in New Jersey and I'm stationed in Kansas. Never been here before. So, and you're in the dorms. I was in the dorms for 2 years. You can get out of the dorms if you get married, which absolutely happens. People just get married to get out of it. And yeah, so, once you get off the dorms, you just got your house, apartment, whatever, and you just go to work like a normal adult. Again, this is maintenance. I don't know how people in combative jobs do this. I don't know what they do for work. You go in, you go do some maintenance, and you just go home sometimes.
Yeah. Did you, with your type of job, I guess in Air Force, it's still MOS, right? With your
The Air Force, like anything in regards to similarities to the Army is none. Like everything is different. I know Army is like MOS, and they don't call it the base; they call it a post. They don't call it dorms; they call it the barracks. Everything's very different in the Air Force. That kind of separates it from the rest of the branches. It's called AFSC, your Air Force Specialty Code. So mine was 2 Alpha 574 Alpha. And each number is very just like each number is very distinct and means something. So on paper, it's called bomber / refueler crew chief. So again, I worked on the KC 135, 2 Alpha 5, 2 Alpha 547 Alpha. So the 7 means your job skill. So there's a 1 level, a 3 level, a 5 level, 7 level, and a 9 level. I don't know why they picked those numbers. They just didn't. So 1 level, you literally aren't even you don't even know shit. You're 1 level in basic training. You get your 3 level when you finish tech school. Once you get to your first job or your first base here, you have to do your little CDC little development courses, right, to learn more about your job, and then you can earn your 5 level. That's usually when you're a senior airman, basically like E4 or E2 or E3 when you can get your 5 level, and then E5, like when I got out as a staff sergeant, that's when you have your 7 level when you can sign off bigger jobs. There is a really whole like complicated thing, and I'm sure I'm probably losing people, but basically the 7 level is kind of like the bread and butter of the Air Force. Of like, have I ever ridden the boom area? Shit, man, I've been everywhere inside the jet. I've been on top of the fin, in the nose, in the gear. I've taken off a rudder. I've everything. So, and yeah, the boom area is hilarious. They always make a joke too. So when you're laying down in the boom, right? Because the boom operator is laying down. There's a little chin rest right there, but they say never to put your chin on it because everyone rubs their balls on it. Yeah, it's also what else is. I mean, I wish I could show everyone because I have like a ton of pictures on my phone. People like to write shit on the jet. So there's like if it shows pencil really well. Like the paint, you always see the gray jet, but inside the jet is always yellow. Like the primer for all the aluminum inside or steel, it's yellow. So pencil really shines there. And people just write dumb shit like send help or just draw a big dick or like, fuck this shop. There's also on the in the cockpit, there's this one little panel that's like right in the center, like under the glare shield. This little panel like this big, and it's like a latch. If you open it and it opens down, it's like this big. And sometimes you'll see like naked women like posted on there. I've only seen 3 jets that actually had pictures of like girls on there, and I took a picture of each one of them, so I got those saved on there.
That's hilarious. Yeah, I figure, man, there's no other replacement for like the military humor, right? And the like, I don't know. It's like a certain type of like that just cannot be replaced.
There's cops, maintainers, and then the rest of the Air Force. Like they're just a different breed of people. And even now, take a look. Like I have a mohawk. Like I have a hand tattoo. You're not allowed to have hand tattoos in the Air Force unless you have like the wedding band. But
shit, I had to get fucking waivers for my tattoo.
Oh, hi Simon. Oh, hi.
Dang.
Yeah.
What kind of dog is that?
I'll get you back a little bit. Sorry, that was Simon. He's a good boy. All right, Simon.
Is he?
Yeah. Dog's name is Simon.
What kind of dog?
Oh, I'm sorry. He doesn't really know. Like on his papers, it just said pointer mix. He's got a bit of German Shepherd in him.
Thanks.
Yeah, he's adopted. He's a good boy. He's dumb, but he's a good boy.
That's the best kind of dog.
Oh, and let's see. Always love World War II nose art. Yeah, that's dead here. That doesn't exist. There's no like art that goes on the jet. The only art, at least for the jet I worked on the 135, the tails. So each state has like kind of its own thing. So they'll have, or each base, sometimes it's a state thing. They'll have like a banner on top of the fin, And so over McConnell, there's always just a very simple like white band and like the black text that says McConnell AFB. Some states have like their fucking logo on it with cool colors, and of course, Kansas is like the super boring, like absolutely nothing.
Does the Air Force compare who has the biggest deck? Okay, so there's this thing. We tell deck jokes, right? Because it sounds like the word dick. It's a long story, but it all started. We were talking about our decks, and it's you don't want to get it started because it will never fucking end. The whole
Dude,
rest.
I was in maintenance, man. Like you can try me. Like the jokes, the shit you talk about. Oh my god, what else is funny? So, okay, so sometimes when you do an operational check, right, make sure something works right. So someone's got to sit on the pilot seat. Power is attached to the jet. You have a headset. There's someone outside who's connected to the comms as well. So you're like running stuff, like moving the wheel, whatever. And the conversations that go on in that thing are just like ridiculous. One of the more common ones was like, would you sit on a dick and eat a cake, or would you sit on a cake and eat a dick? You know, or like it's just these kind of questions that you must ask yourself.
Yeah, right.
Let's see,
That's a
does
tough
the
one.
Air Force still use a flying boom? Well, when you see a jet being refueled, a big fucking boom, that's what it's called. It's a boom that refuels it. Does it have a old school fuel net? If you ever see helicopters being fueled with like kind of looks like a big hose and like it looks like a badminton like shuttlecock, that's used for like 130s and helicopters that are flying too slow and they can't be attached to the boom. When you see just the normal refueling to like another jet or a bomber, that's a boom.
Mm. What's the coolest aircraft that you've actually been up in?
Been inside of was the B1. Believe it or not, the toilet is right behind the pilot seat in the B1. Like open door and everything. It's just a toilet just sitting there.
For real?
Yeah. Well, actually, no. Well, it's one of the coolest jets I've been on. Yeah, I flew over to the deed in a C-17. It was one of the most awful experiences ever. C-17s are cool. Like I think they look cool as far as heavy goes for Air Force. They're the coolest ones. I think they do really cool jobs. Being in one is absolutely terrible. They're very cold. First of all military jets are freezing. When I was flying, I deployed. We had to fly out of like North Carolina from this Marine base. 2 hours in the flight at like 2 in the fucking morning. We had to go stop in McGuire in New Jersey because of maintenance issues they had, which was cool for me because I had friends and family there. And then
Yeah.
flew to Germany, and then Germany to Djibouti in Africa, and then we stopped in Qatar finally. Took like a week for me to get there. But
Jeez.
C-17, yeah, fucking, they're freezing, man. They're tiny. You can't sleep on like almost all the time. Horrible.
Damn,
Uh,
that's crazy.
yeah.
What's the I imagine y'all played like pranks and shit like that. What's aside from your, chin going on the ball sack spot, what's the crazy prank that's ever been played on you?
Prank? That's a good question. I mean, like, so one thing that people do is just so you have a cockpit, and where the nose is actually like pretty much all hollow. So all the components, like electrically, mechanically, a lot of the stuff sits underneath. They call it the lower nose compartment. So there's like a latch. There's a door opens up, and you go in there. You have to crawl up in there to do whatever you got to do. And so one thing that's funny is that because the jet's hollow, if you know someone's in there and you just start knocking on it, it just echoes really loud in there and gets pretty annoying.
Mm.
Uh, that really that like really rings your ears. Being left behind is fun too. So like when everyone just gets in there's like the flight line, all the jets are in their parking spots, and you have every shop's got like its own truck, which has like it's a box truck. It has a couch, whatever. You put all your tools, everyone goes in there. So sometimes it's funny to just like leave someone and make them walk back all the way.
Yeah.
Or flashlights. We'll just like look at somebody like, oh hey, and then just shine it in their face. And like it's nothing like this. These things are super bright and they'll blind you.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's always fun.
Parties. Okay, are you pulling a grape question, or
I
is
loved
it
it.
Ape party a real thing.
You
If
know,
you're talking about grape parties, those are
see,
probably illegal.
does the B1 have an oven to heat up your food? That's a good question. I don't. At least one. I didn't fly in one, but at least when I looked in the cockpit, it doesn't have one. I mean, they have an open ass toilet, but no, I didn't see any. Fucked up. Fucking 135 doesn't have a microwave or anything. It just has like there's a so it's called the galley. It's like a little compartment thing that has a coffee maker and toilet paper on there, like compartments and drawers, and that's it.
Damn.
Yeah,
I
you people like you can look at pictures and like the cool videos of the jets, and they all look, that gray finish and paint job that they have look pretty neat. But these things are old. You gotta remember, like 135s, they were made in like the late 50s. Like the jets I worked on were like 60 years old.
damn, that's
So
crazy.
the engines on the engines on them are F108 Pratt Whitney engines, and they changed those like 20 years ago from the old like TF33s. But like that's it, man. Like these things are old.
It's
Like
kind of like when you go to like an amusement park, right? And there's like all these new ass rides everywhere, and you get on the ones with the shorter lines, and you can tell it's like 20, 30 years old, and you're like, damn, I
yeah,
might actually fucking die if
yeah.
I go,
Uh,
dude, it is okay. So King's Dominion in Richmond, Virginia, they had this Wayne's World. I swear to God, it was literally made out of wood, right? And it was the Wayne's World Grizzly. And that shit, like you literally felt this close to death every moment of it. That was cool. Another one called the Rebel Yell, all wood. Like it was just
oh
like
yeah.
death.
Um,
But they painted it, but that's about all they did to it.
yeah, in New Jersey where I grew up in Toms River, New Jersey. It's literally just it's right next to where they filmed it's right next to Seaside Heights where they filmed the show Jersey Shore. So I have that going for me, I guess. It's always a
Nice.
fucking brunt of the joke. But not far from my hometown is Jackson, New Jersey, where they had Six Flags Great Adventure. That's where they have the biggest wooden roller coaster, El Toro. Oh my God. That thing's horrible.
Is that a fucking death trap too?
It's really fun and it's all wood, but you definitely question why you went up there.
Yeah, I've never been to Six Flags. I've
Doesn't really feel.
yeah, right. I've never so I am a father, so you guys know I have been to Six Flags, but I
Mm,
at least once, right? So I've never been to Six Flags. I've never been to Disney. I've never been like all my friends and family give me shit because I've never been. I don't know. I'm just not that guy, right? But now everyone's like, but what about your daughter? I'm like, fuck yeah. But I'm like, I didn't get that shit when I was a kid. Fuck, you know.
so
Let
yeah,
her do that. Herself.
if I'm not going, they're not going, brother.
Yeah, right. Damn. So what's oh, I had oh, your EDC. So you said you carry a is it a shield?
Yeah, MMP Shield Gen 1, absolutely horrible trigger. This thing's actually, ironically, is the most hoard out gun I have. I think it has like 8,000 rounds through it. Um,
Hell yeah.
I It's one of those things out of practicality. Anytime I even think about getting a different carry gun or shooting a different similar size carry gun, um, I just always go back to the shield because it just works best for me. And the reason, the me getting into carrying it was kind of serendipity. So I took a concealed carry course and I didn't have like a good concealed carry pistol to do so. So when I did it, I asked my buddy if I can borrow his shield because I bought it off him. And um, when I shot it, I don't know, it just magic, right? It just felt right in the hands. I shot it. It was nice, tight groups. The recoil was very manageable, very slick gun, very concealable,
Hell
and
yeah.
I carried it since I was 21. So I used to carry the Smith and Wesson Model 640, the wheel gun, for a
No,
short bit, but went right
no.
back to this one. So
Dude, I carried the 642 for a while, which is the same thing but hammerless. And there's just something about 5 rounds, and not even touching on the trigger pull, the whatever reloading and all that. It's like I don't know. It almost like a gun that, like, if you drew, it'd be like bang, 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 and then just throw that bitch, and then or use it as a blunt force, multiplier.
Hey man, I mean, most civilian confrontations like that usually the business is dealt with like 6 rounds or less.
Yeah,
But I understand your trepidation for it. I have, so it's an 8 round, 8+1. I'm totally
yeah,
confident and content with 9 rounds. If
yeah,
I'm just going to the store, if I go to the gas station, what have you. When I go traveling is a different story. The Beretta absolutely comes with me when I'm traveling,
yeah.
and totally put myself in the spot there. But yeah, the state laws don't really mean anything to me. They really
Now,
don't. Like,
are you rocking the true Beretta 15+1s, or did you
yeah.
upgrade to like the 17+1 or 18+1
No,
mags?
I stick to the 15+1. It's sufficient for me, and also the appeal for Berettas to me is the surplus mags. Like, gun shows can suck, but there are always Beretta mags, and they're like
Ten.
$12 cash,
Yeah,
$11 cash. And I know Glock mags can be cheap and plentiful, even like the Magpul Glock mags, but just the surplus Beretta mags are all over the place. They're
yeah.
cheap and they're always work for me. So
Dude,
yeah.
I totally scored. I know I mentioned earlier, most of the viewers know that I switched on my gun belt, I switched from a Glock 19X to a Beretta M9A3. I already had, a handful of Beretta mags from having the 92 FS, but not a lot, just a handful. When I bought this M9A3, it was used. It was barely fired, but it was used. It
Mhm.
came with the gun, a few grips, like aside from the ones that they. So if you like the swelling of the standard 92 FS grip, that sounds bad. If you like the way the grip kind of feels, you can uh, put this grip on. It actually gives you the traditional Beretta feeling, when you grip,
Yeah,
because it
that's
has
cool.
that straight.
Yeah, that really shallowed out, more vertical
Yeah,
pistol.
yeah. But I got this thing with a bunch of different grips, like a holster and Olight, which fuck Olight, but it came with 16 magazines, dude. So I was like, for 850 for the gun and all the shit and 16,
Dude.
yes, I'll take it. And then I learned that because another thing that's appealing is like the heavy ass gun for 16 rounds. I mean, that's obviously more than enough to do work with, but you know, to go from an 18 or 20 round Glock to 16, I was like, what else is available? The M9A3 mags hold 17+1. The M9A4 mags hold 18+1, and they still fit flush. So I'll throw those in the 92 FS and all that from now on. Kind of switch them out and all that. So
Yeah, the way I see it, and Paul Harrell is a big influence for some of the things I do. Not just because of, I just don't take his word for gospel, but also because some of the things, at least I've experienced, kind of align with how he views things to an extent. For example, okay, if I have a pistol with 7 rounds or 6 rounds, right, like a wheel gun, but my carry gun right now is 9 rounds total. That's a
mm,
pretty significant change from 6 to 9 or 6 to 8, right? Just in those low numbers, I think it makes a difference. I think when you get to double digits, like 15+1 versus 17+1, is it
mm,
more? Yes. How much more of a difference in terms of a concealed carry scenario for citizen involved shootings? I'm not even sure. And even the idea of reloading during one is almost unheard of. At least
yeah,
nothing reported that I don't know if that was a significant factor. I mean, when it comes to people who are trying to rob you, carjack you, break in your house, they're not looking for gunfights. They're just looking for your shit. So
yeah,
when they're met with force, they just typically just give up and they want to leave because it's
yeah,
not worth getting shot over. Ironically, as they do things that are that would warrant being shot over.
yeah, yeah. No,
Yeah. Also,
I still in the back of my mind am like, I want all the bullets that I can fit in my gun. But you
oh
are
yeah,
right that whatever people out there, like anyone listening, whatever you get good with, right? Whatever, like you said, that when you grab the shield, like it fit your hand well, you fired it well, the groups were tight. Like that's the best thing, whether it's 8 or 15 or 20. Like as long as you can run it and you feel comfortable with it, the likelihood of any of us having to use our firearm in self-defense. I actually did have to draw my gun one time, but it's a longer story. I also kind of put myself in a bad situation. I've learned
Yeah.
since then, but we're more likely to need a medical kit for someone else or ourselves than we are to actually need a firearm.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong, having more is it's a good advantage. There's always disadvantages. Everything you do in a firearm is a trade-off to something else.
Yeah.
My buddy who has a Glock carries a Glock 19 that has like what is it? Is it 17 rounds in the stock magazine, right?
The flush one is 15 plus one, but you can. I
Yeah,
mean, there's
so
a
he's got 15 plus 1, and then he's got the sidecar, like that T-Rex arms appendix holster, so it carries an extra mag,
Mhm.
and he's got like the extended mag pull with like 21 rounds in it or 22 rounds. So he's packing like almost 40 rounds,
Yeah,
right? And personally, I think it's really extra for going to the gas station or going to Walmart or whatever you're doing. But
yeah,
because the government doesn't want you to do it, I'm just all for it. And because he can, out of the sheer principle of like, I'm gonna carry 40 rounds and not even print or show it because you can. I have bayonets that I never use, but the government doesn't want me to have it, so I'm just gonna stick it right on there.
that is me. I will say that is me. I got 21 rounds in the 43X and then
Hmm.
15 rounds in the magazine next to it. Now, the
Oh yeah,
likelihood of me even needing one of them, I understand, is exceptionally low. But if, God forbid, I do need to exchange rounds, or if like,
oh
so
yeah,
people I've had on the show have like had to, um, you know, um, exchange rounds with like a mass shooter or some actually crazy shit. Get this, not in my neighborhood, in like 2 counties over. This dude. Well, I don't want to get into too much detail, but crazy shit does happen all over, right? So the more bullets, the better. But I also get what you're saying that the likelihood is extremely rare, you
yeah.
know. So I see both sides of that coin.
Yeah, it's just how far you're willing to go. I mean, um, even think of all the unreported statistics of people using their gun defensively. So
Yeah,
even if we watch a video, security video of someone who used their gun with just even showing it, or not even or pulling one shot, half how many of them go unreported? Even though we see it on video, how many times do you actually see it being reported by cops who care
yeah,
enough to even like make a report? Um, and so, statistically, they're always low. The chances are low, never zero. So,
yeah,
you just got to take what you're comfortable with at what risk level you're willing to walk into. When anyone, particularly anti-gunners, anyone who has any qualms about concealed carrying, it's always that mindset of, if I feel like I need to have a gun on me to feel safe, then it's not somewhere worth being. At the same time, you can always, at least what I always do to counter it is it's like, I don't think a fire is going to go off in this house, but we have a fire extinguisher here. I don't,
mhm,
I'm a good driver, knock on wood, never been in a big car accident, but I have my seatbelt on everywhere I go.
yeah,
There's airbags in my truck. There are a lot of these preventative measures. I
yeah,
don't ever want them to be used, but they're there. Like, it's this really annoying notion that people think that because you carry, you have this sort of like fantasy or fetish that you want to actually use it on someone. Like, I really don't, because you know, there I don't want to have to. It's a lot of attention, drama, probably mental trauma for having to blast somebody. And
yeah.
then unfortunately the civil and criminal courts after the legal defenses can just absolutely tear your life apart.
Hell
You know,
yeah,
it's
yeah. I mean,
especially and can you live with the aftermath that goes with it, financially or legally and all that stuff? I
yeah,
mean, I'm just a guy on disability and making stupid art on my laptop. I don't think I can really handle that stuff. So unless it's in my immediate vicinity, like it's not my problem.
yeah,
And this kind of discussion was a thing where Good Samaritans, right? I saw a post on Instagram about something about being good Samaritan, and some guy was I can't remember exactly what the post was. The topic of being good Samaritan. I was like, okay, I feel like violence today, right? So I put in the comments, I was like, yeah, fuck being good Samaritan, man. There's no reward for it. Like, it's so much more trouble. If you want to do it, good on you. And everyone's like giving me hate, like, oh yeah, you're the reason what's wrong with the world, and you're not a real man, blah blah blah. And I was like, look, I did my one deed. I helped someone out of like a busted car. That's my one deed, right? Most of the time, it's not worth it. It's not worth getting involved. Oh yeah, so the video was like someone was recording on the subway, right? And this one dude is like acting really raucous, really crazy, out of his mind. And this other guy who was sleeping, he's just like sitting down, but like leaning over and sleeping. And this guy just like jumps and like body slams this guy and just starts shouting and everything and being an ass. But that's the only person he assaulted. And everyone's like, he should have knocked him out. And I'm like, fuck that, dude. Like, what's your goal in that situation? You're going to get in a scrap with someone in the subway. It's this guy who's acting nuts, who may or may not be on drugs, may or may not have a knife on or a gun on him. And it's like, what were you going to plan to do afterwards? Are you going to hold this guy down, call the cops, or wait for the cops to get there? Are you hoping someone else will jump in? People, it's the aftermath and the consequences that people think, that people never mention. Like, oh, be a good Samaritan, do this. It's like, that's cool, but are you really willing to go through with this to the end? I mean,
yeah, it was, so for me personally, it would have to be like a true like preservation of life moment, and my family, kids, whatever, like my shit was safe, right? Because that's the number one focus, is me and mine, right? If I would like to think that I would rise to the occasion to preserve innocent life if there's someone that is actually using the threat of lethal force. If a dirtbag on the train is being an asshole, I'm not going to jump in and like that one.
No, like
choked out the dude, killed him, and I don't, unless it's actually preserving innocent life, I don't see the point of jumping in to make someone's day better or to stop an uncomfortable interaction. Like, fuck that. It's got to be preservation of innocent life, whether it's my family's, my own, or other innocent life, in my opinion.
I mean, to even take the example I mentioned earlier, where I helped someone out of a flip car, right? So be it. And like I said, as soon as I got out of the car, everyone booked. I mean, how many people were crowding around the vehicle willing to help? And then as soon as the actual call to do something besides just pretend like you're going to help, like, I mean, I was the one that got in the car, got the woman out, and so on and so forth. But right after that, man, everyone just dipped. And in that same aspect of the idea of being a good Samaritan and doing the right thing, it's like, how far are you really willing to go? I mean, there's going to be unforeseen consequences that you probably didn't take into account. Hell, even just getting in like some sort of yelling argument in public, if some guy's being an asshole it's all on him that he's being an asshole. And you really should just de-escalate things and walk away. The best fight is the one you just walk away from, and that speaks volumes. But in the sort of good Samaritan sense, like, say there's a mass shooter, right? I'm in the mall, I'm looking at sunglasses, and you hear the shots. Look, I'm not playing superhero and going out of my way to go there. I'm probably going to stay put in the store until I can kind of get an idea where it's coming from and get the hell out. Because I mean, it's not my job. If he's like really close in the vicinity, maybe I would do something. I'm not really sure. Everyone likes to think that they would do something until like those actual adrenaline filled, like, life or death situations come up. I don't know if I would fight, flight, or freeze. So who knows? Maybe I would do something. I just don't know. But if it's in my vicinity where I myself am in the presence of lethal force being used against me, or someone in a very close proximity who is in the danger, who's got the threat of their life, where I think I might be next. If I see two people get in a fight, well, that's their problem. To an extent, I'm not going to go break that shit up. So be it. If I see some guy who's got a club or a gun or a knife and he's just like absolutely going to town on someone, yeah, in that instance, I'm definitely going to go out of my way to just put a stop on this person.
Yeah.
Just because a big reason is because, if I'm in his sight, I might be next. If it's just one guy, who knows, man? I mean, there's so many factors go into it, but
Yeah.
everyone can type their fat dick beaters away on the internet and say, "Oh, you're a coward. You're not a man because you wouldn't stop this." It's like, everyone's got a plan until they get punched in the mouth, like Mike Tyson says. And it's like, I'm sure you guys, all these big tough guys who say all this macho stuff, like, "Oh, you're not a man." You can say that all you want, man. I'm sure that if you're in the situation with some like crazy dude on a fucking subway, I'm sure you would do literally nothing about it.
Yeah. I mean,
So
most of those people probably have not ever been in a situation having to make decisions while they're, dealing with an adrenaline dump. While, so
oh yeah.
it's, I don't know. It would really have to depend on the circumstances, right? Like I said, like the situation of, like a match. So I literally just 2 days ago had somebody on the show that went out of his way to stop a mess.
Yeah, of course.
He killed a shitload of people still, like it,
Yeah.
but he did stop. The good guy stopped the guy from killing more people. I'm saying the bad guy killed a bunch of people. And but he did stop it. He did save some lives. Um, I don't know. I'd like to think if I had the capability to, that I would stop something like that. But it
Yeah.
depends. If I can't make sure that my family is safe and secure, if I were to go do something, like, I don't know. There's so many other factors, like you're saying. I get
Yeah.
it.
There's you can only be so prepared. Like, now I'm not trying to brag, and I know this may come off as humble bragging. So in the instance of self-defense, right? Personal protection, right? Now, if any instance my friend, like my really close friends, uh were like, if someone's gonna scrap with them, like if they put a hand on them, I'm just jumping in. I won't even think about it. I'll just start swinging. And I absolutely mean that. Like, if any one of my really close friends, my family is about to get scrapped, and I don't care. Fists are flying. I don't even care how big the guy is, whatever. I'm not that very big of a guy, but I'll do it. I don't care. But in the instance of, for self defense, there's a lot of things you can do to prepare up to that point. Go to the gym, be in good shape, practice some sort of martial art where it's striking or grappling so that you're good on that. Do some, what's the word? Sparring with somebody so you actually know where you're at. Train your drawing your pistol, dry firing, shooting at the range, doing some dynamic shooting one-handed, malfunction training. You can do all this stuff, and still you just feel like, at least for me, I still feel like I'm just inadequate. I get dreams where I use my concealed carry pistol, and in my dreams the trigger's like 100 pounds,
Yeah,
or
that's
like you're shooting and it's just like progressively harder and harder. Or in my dreams, I feel like when I'm punching someone, like it feels like there's no mass behind it, like I'm punching a pillow.
yeah.
Um,
That's actually super common. Like, I have the same dreams with the 100-pound trigger, right? And then when you finally squeeze a round off, it's like, like the
yeah,
other.
or like I'm terrified that, okay, so I'm confident with my shooting skills with the M&P, but it's like in the heat of the moment, whatever, right? In that adrenaline filled a microsecond, you have to like blast this person. It's like, am I going to hit all on target? I don't want to hit an innocent guy. I don't want to miss. I don't want to malfunction. All these little things that just terrify you. But, we can be as prepared you got to work to be as prepared as possible. And fitness
Yeah,
is absolutely key. You know,
100%. That's what, for me personally, that's what this year has been focused on. Like, I realized, donning all the gear and like going and shooting and doing classes and shit. I was like, man, if I'm not as healthy as I can, if I can't go run,
yeah.
a couple miles with my gear on without, you know,
Yeah.
folding myself in half, like, like
Yeah.
I'm not.
Like, I mean, you remember a few years ago when they had like 30,000 protesters in Virginia for like some gun law that was
Hmm.
going down, red flag laws, whatever. mean, you
Yeah.
see all the pictures of these like big chungus dudes with their plate carriers and stuff. It's like I'm really happy you have it, but
Yeah.
none of you have ever used it extensively or have conditioned yourself to be wearing it all day. I've
Yeah.
had my plate again. I've never been in combat. I was in maintenance. I'm not an expert. I don't do this. I was in security. I'm just a regular guy. But to have your plate carrier on or your load bearing gear or your rifle slung over you for like all day and walk
Mm.
around with it, it's a bit of conditioning that you should do. It's like when someone starts the gym, the first 2 weeks are gonna suck. You're gonna be sore. You're gonna absolutely hate it because you've never been in motion this much before. But once you get past that threshold, then it's second nature. You don't feel that pain to an extent, and you just got to condition it. And it's the same way that goes with fitness and with training with shooting pistols, whatever. Maybe your wrist hurts from shooting it because I don't know. My buddy's got wrist problems from like maintenance. Like he legitimately has like wrist and hand problems. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you have more sensitive hearing. I don't know. Whatever it is, there's just a threshold, and there's conditioning people have to do. And fitness is absolutely something that I think is harped on enough. Generally speaking, you see on social media, but I don't
Not,
think
not
that people. I don't think people like consistently follow it. Yeah, everyone can say, yeah, go to the gym, but I don't know how many people actually do it.
I kind of see the commitment to self-health and physical activity and all that. I see kind of separate from the gun community. I don't see as much of it in the gun community, if that makes sense, right?
Oh
Like
yeah,
so I mean, I would, so that again, like that's something I'm focusing on now. Like I'm not in shape, I'm not where I need to be. I'm better now than I was in January, right? Like,
yeah,
but I'm still not like where I would like to be. So even just doing something like committing to one activity a day and then committing to maxing out on fucking push-ups, anything, whatever you can do that's like something
yeah.
that's better than just sitting on my fucking ass doing nothing.
Hey man,
Like,
we've all been there.
yeah.
One comment that struck to me about it, I don't. I'll be honest, I actually don't follow Garantham, but I saw this one comment he made on this one post, and it just stuck with me. He says, "If you can't do 11 pull-ups from a dead hang, don't talk to me." And I was just like, "Damn." And okay, I can because I work really hard on being able to do pull-ups and stuff, but it's not. It's so hard to do pull-ups.
It is.
Uh,
Pull-ups are crazy. I watch my 6-year-old on the monkey bars. I'm like, fuck.
Yeah,
Like,
and see, you realize just how many people really cannot do like even three good, not half-assed, like you doing pull-ups all the way up and down. Like most people
I could
cannot
not
do
11 pull-ups from a dead hang. Fuck no.
that.
I'm
No,
not.
I mean, like I said, so everyone's got to make goals, right? It's not easy. I used to struggle to do even five. Like last year, I was just so fucking weak. Um, uh, I can go up. I haven't done max, but I do like 11 as like a warm up before I go to the gym. Or I go to the gym and my warm up is always just like 11 pull ups. I don't know. It's a weird routine. I always start with pull ups no matter what I'm doing. But fitness is such a big important thing, and you got to make goals. And even I struggle with that diet and getting to where I am. It's so frustrating because you see all these muscled up dudes like admin results, Grantham, like they're these big hulking guys who have all this really cool gear with guns and they're really fit, and you
Yeah.
forget that it took them years to get to that point. And we don't see your progress change in 6 months or even a year. It's very frustrating.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think because of how like big I let myself get, I started seeing some progress quickly. And then it kind
Mhm.
of started to like, plateau off. So, um,
Yeah.
I need to adjust and do some more things, more activities. There's this spot called XCal. It's a little further out of the way. It's closer to where John Crump lives, which isn't too far from me. But it it's a huge 100,000 square foot range. And
Jeez.
they have a gym, and it's like, man, if I was considering getting a membership there because it's like, all right, I could go shoot, do my thing, which shooting classes and all that is kind of a workout too, but
Yeah.
and then actually like working out, but I haven't committed to it yet. I just kind of need to get my shit together.
Yeah. Another thing is like, so people really want to get serious with their gear. you put that plate carrier on all day, man, or do some push-ups in it, or really
Yeah.
want to get practical with what your fitness is, because fitness is all good when you have those super lightweight shorts and sneakers and a light t-shirt or tank top. But if you're ever like in your jeans and flannel or whatever, and whatever you wear every day, you gotta be able
Yeah.
to know how to rock it in the or fucking sandals on public. And I'm gonna get in a rant here. Oh, all right, sorry, but
Yeah.
I absolutely despise Crocs. Like, I'm a practical man. When I go out, I never wear shorts. I always wear jeans in public, no matter what time of the year. I just always wear jeans. But like wearing open-toed sandals. Like, I know it's summer, but wearing sandals, flip flops, Crocs out in public, I just feel like you really put yourself at a disadvantage, because that stuff has like no grip. Bust your fucking toe and pull a nail or whatever. If you're like out in the street and you get in a scrap with someone, you can't run with them. I I
Yeah.
hate them. I absolutely hate Crocs so much.
Yeah. See, I just always wear shoes, like tennis shoes,
Yeah,
like
I always got Vans on.
I think like so like in Florida, for an example, everybody just wears flip flops or sandals, or
Yeah,
slides, or whatever you call them in Florida. But like if you for real had to run your ass off, like for your life, those
uh,
things are getting fucking spun around your feet. They're
you're gonna trip,
tripping on them. Yeah, they're like I
bust
cannot.
your toe.
Like Corn Pop is in Florida. Um, watching the Death Wish series of it. Yeah, good luck. That honestly, that's how most dudes are. And I will. So
Yeah,
there's one piece to this I will say. So a big piece of preparation is psychological preparation, right? So your body will never go to a place that your mind has not. So I will say that psychologically preparing for things is important too, but that's one of many other aspects.
oh
You
yeah,
know, you got to physically prepare. You got to know, like, okay, I can and can't do certain things, and you got to carry your fucking tool, right? And I know we talked about your EDC and
yeah.
Gordon and this and that.
Mental game is a big thing to it. I mean,
Yeah,
everyone says they would defend their friend, their loved one, whatever. But how many do like take a really good long hard thought about how you would truly react, or how much you truly value whatever your friend is, to get in that kind of trouble. I mean, personally, and it's always easier to say than if any situation arises, but I absolutely would die for my friends, like my friends that I made here in the Air Force, or my family. I love my family. I'm very fortunate to have such a loving family, but absolutely I'm willing to go down. I know
yeah,
I can generally see what consequences will follow after, I don't know, say a physical altercation, or God forbid, a self-defense shooting.
hmm
I'm willing to go through it. I don't care, as long as my loved ones are better off than I am. Then that's what's important to me. And
yeah,
I think a number of it can go to philosophy too. I don't know if anyone, whether you're a religious or spiritual or philosophical person, you know, really having a good, you know, true, like, strong roots in whatever you believe in,
yeah,
right? I don't have power over external forces, but I can have power how I react to things. If someone decides to attack a friend of mine, I can't help that. But in that heat of the moment, I can decide to do something about it to the best of my abilities, or prepare if it ever happens. Like,
yeah,
how many people can have tourniquets on their play care? How many of them actually practice putting them on? Do you know where
yeah,
to put them on? How many to put on? Or everyone likes to go straight up to tourniquet, but they forget that direct pressure or elevation with just gauze and field dressing can do a good job enough before having to use your tourniquet. You know,
yeah.
do you
Or
put it over your? Do you don't put it over joints? Put it about 2-3 inches above on the high end. You don't put it on the extremities. All these
and
little things that,
stage, for God's sakes, please stage your tourniquets correctly. Instead, you know how many people I've seen wearing like the dopest fucking kit, and they got tourniquets in the plastic inside their shit and closed up. I'm
uh,
like, dude, like you're gonna be
a similar A
biting it.
similar thing to that is like I don't like this really notion that everyone's got these like so everyone's all about speed, right? Speed, lightweight, go ultra fast, despite the fact that they couldn't run more than like a mile and a half without dying, right? They're
Yeah.
all about the anaerobic, really high paced, run fast for like 1 minute and then you're good. People never think about this stuff long terms, my opinion. And so people have these medical kits, these IFAKs, right? They're these micro little baby rigs. They have like one thing of gauze, one thing of like one vented chest seal, and a tourniquet. And the tourniquet is like fucking separate anyway. It's like, man, like you don't have anything packed in there. And it's like a lot when I had my, I'm kind of lacking right now because I haven't really rocked my plate carrier and belt in a while. But I had my IFAK that had another tourniquet inside of there with it had gloves, vented chest seal, gauze and field dressing, and then another one I had another tourniquet on like a quick access or quick
Yeah.
select whatever, and including another additional miscellaneous like admin pouch that had more field dressing and gauze in it, and
Super
people are
important.
just skimping out on medical because they want these like micro little rigs. It's like this is stuff you're supposed to save your life, and you want like one of this. Like, what if you drop it in water? What if you fucking rip it open? Or what if there's more than one wound? Everyone goes
Yeah.
straight to tourniquet, and there's nothing wrong with that to a degree, but have your other resources and utilize them.
Yeah, the
It's like
tourniquet's just one tool.
even like as this guy says right here, exercise is good for strength and endurance, but you have to eat right too. Absolutely.
Yeah.
If someone who is just slamming down soda, never drinking water, they never have protein or just a good diet in general. I mean, yeah, you can go ahead and lift all you want, but you're gonna see some dog shit process or progress.
Yeah. Yeah. Medical though is super important, and that's something that's totally, totally just like almost forgotten, or the people that are rocking medical are carrying medical because they see other people do it and they don't train to it. Or like I was just looking at triple C courses in Virginia that me and one of my brothers could take, because like I don't know enough about that shit. Like I don't know like what I've like looked up and like studied on my own. That's funny as shit that John Rice says I have Croc brand flip flops.
Hey man, like, okay, so if we're gonna go on that, when you wear it inside your house for comfort, so be it. I'm the kind of guy I don't want to look like ass in public. I have some sense of standard. You'll never see me in sweatpants or slippers or loafers or fucking Crocs in public. You just won't. I don't do that. I was raised to always look nice wherever you go. My mom's very old school, right? Old school Mexican lady. And yeah, I definitely no slippers, no sandals, no Crocs. And man, just so many people wear that in public. It's like,
Yeah, it's different at the house, like but even then, like if you are so I'm rocking like loafer style slippers, but they're like molded to my foot. They have tread. I literally go run, and I'll even what? Maybe I'll do like a YouTube short on this. I can literally go run a fucking mile in these right now. I swear to God.
yeah, dude. I that's another thing. One instance, I was at a concert a few months ago, not that long ago here, and so I had VIP. I bought VIP so to go see August Burns Red. You go in early, you get to get extra merch, meet and greet, photo, get them to sign stuff, but you have a lot of extra shit. And you have like early access to buy the t-shirts and other merch, right? And you have all this shit, but you don't want to carry it around. And sometimes venues won't let you go back in, but pretty much everyone I've been to let me in. And I park fucking far. And I was like, oh shit. And I was like, can I please go like drop this off? They're like, yeah, sure. Cause they were starting to let the general admission in. And I was like, oh fuck. And so I was in my Vans, right? And I fucking ran all the way to my, it was like a fucking mile away, I swear. Or it felt like it anyway.
Damn.
And I ran in those bitches, and it like, I know Vans are not ideal for running. They have no support, cushioning whatsoever. But out of necessity, if I had to, yeah, I could. That's why you'll never see me wear slipper. Even the slip-on Vans, no, I'm not wearing those. I get too paranoid that something's gonna happen. I need to have like laces fucking tight,
Yeah, I'm usually rocking Nike sneakers. I know Nike Devil, but I love Goonbeam said real Florida man could, what was it? Run a
And
mi-
some sprint and reefs.
run a
And I like how as soon as I made like the one mention of my mom being Mexican, someone's instantly like no chanclas.
yeah.
No, I have my Adidas slides and like my slippers, my just house slippers I'm wearing now, but no, I don't wear it in public. And
Yeah.
also, the funny thing that some people made a comment on Kalash Wave at some point, because okay, so yes, I was born in America, but my parents were born in Mexico.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, I am a fucking bean. I'm a beaner, whatever. But it's funny. But it's funny because some people took a notice to that when I was making like memes about. I don't know if you know this Mexican artist named Selena. Um, so
Like the Selena.
Selena, yes, Selena Quintanilla Perez, not Selena Gomez. Like
Yeah.
anyway,
I was gonna make a Selena Gomez joke, but I was like, all right, let me
yeah, I
stop.
know. But anyway, big, big, like legendary star, right? Literally
Yeah,
labeled like queen.
and my wife has watched that fucking movie like 200 times. But yes, I'm very familiar.
Yeah, so I have a Selena shirt. I had a picture where you see the Selena shirt in it, and everyone's like, "Yo, I didn't know he's a damn fool." And I was like, "Yep." uh, I've been called a coconut. I'm brown on the outside and white on the inside because I'm so Americanized.
That's funny. Yeah, that I mean, it kind of naturally happens because you're growing up in a totally different environment, right? But you're still getting the culture from your roots.
Oh
It's
yeah, man. I mean,
yeah.
I was
It
born in Texas, but I was raised in New Jersey for God's sakes.
Oh man, I couldn't imagine. I mean, especially like in some areas like where I grew up, it was like right on the Washington D.C. line, and like a lot of those beliefs of DC kind of come into like those areas, those suburbs. So like guns were for cops and robbers only, right? Like guns were bad, right? But you drive half an hour in the other direction in Virginia, and like people got gun racks in their trucks, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like they
Dude,
the police, you know?
I
it,
swear, and this is gonna sound corny. I swear, I was like born hating gun laws because when I was a kid, my introduction to guns, like a real one in person, was my uncle. So I grew up in New Jersey. The only relative I had in New Jersey was my one aunt on my mom's side. I had no other family besides my brothers and my parents. Everyone else lives in southern Texas or Mexico, right? And so she was married to this one guy. One white guy, right? His name was
Mhm.
George Westland. And this guy, he had a few guns, right? 911, a revolver, but he had one AR. And
Mhm.
I remember it looking goofy as a kid, and that image stuck to me because I remember it had a fixed stock, no threaded barrel, right? Quad rail, cheap optic, the fucking airsoft red dot. And I
Yeah,
just vividly remember that as a kid. And I was like, that's such a weird looking gun. And he was explaining, I vividly remember saying that you're not allowed to have like collapsing or folding stocks in New Jersey. And he's telling me that. And the reason behind it is like, so you can't conceal it in your fucking jacket or whatever. And as a
yeah,
kid, I was just like, that is the stupidest thing ever. That doesn't make sense. What?
yeah.
And then I don't know. I just heard gun laws as a kid, and none of them ever stuck to me like, oh, that's a valid thing. In
Well,
sixth grade,
as a kid, you're trying to like match those statements with logic, right? So you're
yeah,
like,
and there is none, man.
yeah,
Like, so
kid, you know,
so in sixth grade, we had this one presentation by three people with disabilities, right? One was a quadriplegic, one was born, I think, with cerebral palsy or something, and someone else had like a big mental disability or some of that, right? Just to, I don't know, I guess inform kids about people with disabilities, whatever. So there's one gentleman, he's quadriplegic because him and his friend were playing with his fucking dad's gun that they found in the drawer, and I think he dropped it or he accidentally shot it, whatever, and it went off and it hit him in the back of the neck and it paralyzed him from the neck down. And he never like pushed out any anti-gun message to it, but it's
yeah.
New Jersey of all things, right? There's no big gun culture to there. And as a kid, I was just remember my reaction to it was like, damn, that sucks. And like at no point was I was just thinking that the firearm was to blame or it was any more dangerous. I don't know. For me, like putting the logic of blaming firearms was just never something I grew up thinking. And ironically, from movies is where I felt I learned partially about safety because in I know movies aren't always the best example, but I remember in some movies where people are so adamant about having their finger off the trigger is that whenever I was first introduced to firearms, it's like the first thing I did was to just, don't fucking put your finger on the trigger.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, if I was in that class at that age, I probably would have been the one raising my hand. Like, why did you play with the gun in the first place?
What kind of gun was it?
Yeah. I was upset when I was a kid. I was obsessed with guns. My parents, my brothers and sisters tell me all the time. They're like, now of course I remember this, but they're like, you used to take like a paper towel roll and then a bunch of toilet paper rolls and tape them together and be like, I have a Gatling gun.
Dude, what I did was took 2 yardsticks, because they weren't like the flat ones, they were like square, right? 2 yardsticks, and I electrical taped them together, and I took like this little PVC pipe and put it on the top, and it is like this little sniper rifle I made because I grew up watching Saving Private Ryan, and I fucking love
the left hand clock.
Yeah, he was all weird with it, but fuck, what was his name? But not Ryben. Jackson, the sniper in Saving Private Ryan, Jackson. I always loved the sniper scenes that he had, and I was like, that's fucking cool, man.
Oh,
and so
that whole movie was incredible, but that character especially, like it was a character of integrity and loyalty, and he was like the archangel that came down to save everyone. You know what I mean? Like he was fucking Overwatch, and the dude is running a bolt with his left hand like a fucking champ,
Dude, this one time I have one bolt gun, right? One milsurp. I'm a man of diversity when it comes to guns. I don't have like many of one thing. I like to have like one of everything, sort of, some degree. So my one milsurp, and I remember a while ago I was like, I wonder if I just try to, because when you shoot it, you run it with your right hand. And I was like, maybe I should just try to do it with my left hand and keep my hand on it. And I didn't move my thumb. And so when I ran it back, I just like slammed the bolt with my thumb and just sliced it open.
Yikes. Dude, I remember the first time I took my dad shooting, and it's your dad, right? So it's like he knows all. He's been there, done that. I used to shoot these when I did this in this contract with this platoon and this army and this military. I'm like, whatever, right? And I let him shoot my Glock 19 actually that he gave me, and when I was 20 something, he gave it to me, and I still got it to this day. I love it. It's one factory OEM Glocks. He grabs it, right? And Dad, if you're watching this, sorry, I love you. He grabs it, and his grip was so fucked, and I was like, all right, now hang on. Like, the human body is designed specifically so you're like, I'm about to go into it. He's like, yeah, I got it. And his thumb was behind the slide, and it was just kind of like loosely sticking up, and he was just like, bam, and I saw it like whack. I was like, oh
damn.
Yeah, bet you learned your lesson there,
Yeah, man. So it's really funny. I didn't grow up, like, none of my family had guns. My mom definitely didn't have any guns, especially in the climate of New Jersey. My first gun ever shot was the M16 in basic. Like I said, movies and video games and just really pushed me into just loving guns. Modern Warfare 2 is a big one for everybody, around my age group. I just love guns since I just always loved guns as a kid, man. And more so as an adult, I really just appreciate military service weapons. The modern stuff is cool, but I like specifically what the military has used, because for me, it's more so that they don't always make the best decision, but I like seeing what stuff is actually used. Everyone, and I'm going to pick on the AR guys for a little bit here, because they pick accessories like they pick shoes, right? They're never happy with one fucking thing. They always want to change like the little hand stop or a foregrip or this M-lock panel, whatever. They're never happy with all these little, to me, what is trivial and minutia, right? But, in using conflicts, or even the U.S. military, when they just use what they have at a necessity and the way they make things work for them, it's like, you guys are bitching here about, this LVPO is better than this LPVO, despite that it's like $10 difference and how one has a different lever and all this little trivial stuff. And it's like, there's guys slaying other guys with you know, a fucking ACOG or a basic comp M4 red dot and an M4 rifle, or this guy just has an AK with a flashlight. And I'm not saying you got to relegate yourself to such, you know, less than stellar technology, but the one thing that was always a constant nuisance for me is how, you know, a lot of the guys who are so into accessories, they're never happy with one thing. They're just constantly changing. It's like there's no faith or a lot or trust in your rifle. You constantly change it so much that you just, you know, they have I feel like they have an internal fear that they're like at a disadvantage if they don't have this on it, or if they don't have this on it, or it's like, oh, now I feel like shooting long range, so now I'm gonna put this. It's like, you make up your mind, man.
I think there's a couple things with that. So I think one piece of it is that a lot of guys, especially gun guys that you never see shooting or training, right? A lot of gun guys will get something because they saw someone else with it, and then they heard someone else say that it gives you some sort of tactical advantage. So then they
Yeah.
get it, and then they may dry fire practice with it. They may shoot it like a little, but they don't like for real run it, because if they did actually run it, they'd be able to see what, if they did need to make any changes, they'd be able to see what changes they would actually need to make, right? Like,
so
you know,
take for example, so
change, you know, yeah.
The way I have my arsenal set up, if anyone has seen on my Instagram about it, so it's got the RS Regulate mount. Currently, it runs the Prism optic of primary arm, the 1X. It's just one magnification. SLX, really good optic. And the last time, I shit you not, last time I purchased and like with my own money bought a new optic was like fucking 3-4 years ago when I got just a cheap red dot for it, and it was running for a while. And then when I went to Kalash Bash, I was fucking missing half the shots, and it just my astigmatism with it, just like a big fuzzy red blob. I had trouble seeing that smaller targets at like 200 yards. I just couldn't hit shit, and I fucking failed at a one course, because there's 8 courses, right? And I forget what number it was, but I timed out on it. And I'm gonna partially blame the fact that I didn't zero beforehand, because I thought it was just still zeroed. But I will put that disclaimer out there. It might have just been not zeroed perfectly.
Yeah.
But you know, I asked the guys, the RSOs, I was like, if I take off the optic, because there's the irons only, and then there's like the optics category classes. So obviously you can't run optics if you're in the irons only. So I was like, if I take them off my red dot, is that gonna be a problem? Like, because I didn't know if it changes like what class. And he's like, you can go from red dot to irons, but you can't go irons to red dot. I was like, okay, that makes sense. So I ran irons like the rest of the way. I shit you not. I was just pinging steel left and right. It was just like ping, hit, like no matter what I was doing.
Yeah.
But the last, so like the reason I got the Prism optic is because of stigmatism, and that's like no shit. Like the last optic changed, and ever since, my arsenal is pretty much the same setup it's been since day one. You know, sometimes I just run it with bare bones with just irons only, but the flashlight with the RS Regulate BM1 that clamps to the barrel, and I know it makes a lot of AR guys wince. So the Streamlight, the RS Regulate mounts, and has pretty much been the go-to. The only thing that changed is the red dot and the Prism optic. Like I said, pretty much out of necessity because of astigmatism. But
I mean, I don't know if I have astigmatism, but I know that when I look at red dots, it looks like a fucking starburst, right? Like, it doesn't look like the clear dot. Like when I take a picture of it, I'm like, what? That's what it's supposed to look like?
Yeah, right.
I also got, so on I got a 10.3 inch 5.56 that I assembled. I can't really call it built because I didn't like mill out the lower receiver, but I assembled it, right? And I got a 308 can on it, and it's almost like dedicated to that gun, but I can use it with a bunch of different shit. I even suppressed one of my AKs with it. And I put my last rifle optic change actually was also the 1X Cyclops, the 1X prismatic scope from Primary Arms. That etched reticle is so clean, man. Like it's
such a game changer. The chevron is a god tier.
Yeah, it's a hell of an optic. I love that thing. That's been great. Even at I went to another basic rifle carbine course, whatever, at MD Arsenal, and like, man, I even at like 25 yards, it was just like beautiful. I
It's
mean,
almost unfair. You almost feel like, how is it this easy? You know, I
even
felt like I was so used to having to struggle with like a red dot that I'm like, it can't be this easy. You know, like it's
yeah,
crazy.
dude, we were doing transitions, and we were doing it was like 7 yards, right? And we were doing El Presidente's 1 to 5s and the drills, and it got to a point where I'm just like, dude, I can literally just shoulder it and turn my light on, right? And look through I see the etched reticle is matching up right to the right of where my
Oh
light,
yeah.
and I was just like waka 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 waka, and it was just like burning through targets, man. I was like,
Yeah.
damn, this shit's pretty dope. But you know what I did do? I took the TLR off my Beretta, and I, because I'm converting to night vision, I took the TLR off my Beretta, and I put the Holosun PID dual on it, which is 1,000 lumen light, Viz green laser, and an IR laser. Now, prior to this, I would have been like, lasers are whack. Lasers are, pretend things from the 80s that don't really help. Crimson Trace is a gimmick and all that shit, right? But dude, I actually sighted the laser inappropriately. Holy shit. I'm like, bro, why are lasers not like on everything? This shit is killer, dude.
Man,
It's
see,
not,
we're at a point, I think, in my experience and interaction with other people. So take it back like 5 years. Grantham says it himself, so of course everyone has to follow suit. A good modern rifle has a sling, light, and optic, right? Nowadays, since night vision is so prevalent, everyone's like, no, now you need night vision, right?
mhm.
And the jump, the gap between having a light, a red dot, and a sling versus night vision, the laser, and then the means to mount your night vision,
Yeah.
and then shooting enough to make that economically feasible to get a return on investment is such a massive gap between the two. And I
Yeah.
gotta say, it's really cool. I've seen through night vision. I I haven't shot in night vision because it was like one of my friends, but I didn't get to like shoot it. It's really cool. However, the way people act as if that it's so easy to get, they're like, yeah, just buy night vision, man. Just budget, just it's like, look, look. If I have $15,000 for fucking PVS, I'm not buying night vision. I'm sorry. Like, if I'm saving that much money, I have significantly more important things to deal with. Like my rifle has a light, an optic, and a good sling, and I have a lot of time and experience with that rifle, and
Yeah.
that works a lot. That works very well for me. I don't feel like I need night vision. And then people are telling me like, yeah, well, the feds are gonna like come in at night and fucking raid your place with night vision. I'm like, okay, first of all, if they're coming in at like 2 in the morning when I'm in bed and there's like a whole team of them, I'm probably not gonna win that one if they have night vision. Like those no knock warrant raids at like 3 in the morning, or they're real dudes, right? But
Yeah.
that financial jump between the two is like even on a budget, you can get by pretty well with a good optic, a decent sling, and a light setup, right? Even if you take an AR-15 for $1,000, you can get that. I think you can get a pretty decent setup like that. But
Yeah.
people just talk about that gap, like just get night vision, man. Just budget. It's like, I don't think you understand.
It's a
You don't
huge,
like literally. You're talking about me, the cost of a car, a literal a vehicle to
yeah.
night vision. You got to
Now,
have the means to shoot it too, man.
it's some, I think so. It's taken me, man, so probably, fuck, really, 18 years of shooting to be like, now I'm gonna get night vision. Now, I also, I could not even count the amount of ammunition I've put through you know, the types of firearms that I have now. These particular guns that I have now, yeah, maybe got like 10,000 rounds to the rifle, you know, a few thousand rounds to the handgun because it's newer. But I mean, I've been shooting a Beretta since I was a kid, right? So it's a little different. But like, it got to a point where I was like, okay, I have like 30 Glocks. That's crazy, right? There's no, and I know, I get it. They're all different. They're all beautiful in their own way, right?
Oh yeah.
You know, to have, you know, fucking 20 grand worth of Glocks is pretty stupid. So I'm like, all right, let me do this. Let me thin out the collection a little bit, right? And I'll spend a few $100 on a helmet, right? Then I'll spend a few $100 on the Wilcox mount. Then I'll spend a couple $100 on the J arm. Then when it comes time, I'll spend 3 grand. I'll get a single tube PVS 14, you know, L3 Harris built, white phosphorus. I'm probably not going to spring for the 42 or whatever $100, $4,500 aviation grade, but it'll be like baby night vision. And then instead of getting a $2,500 full power laser, I'll just use that cheap ass $285. Well, for a night vision laser, an inexpensive IR laser, right? And you know, use that Holosun. I'll literally put that $200 Holosun IR laser on my rifle as if it was a freaking you know, full power you know, D-ball or whatever, and
Yeah.
at least kind of get my feet wet. But I would have never, I mean, it's taken me literally almost 2 decades to be like, okay, what are the benefits of it? Okay, looking up at the stars is crazy. I would get it just right?
To be fair, the jump in technology of night vision in 2 decades is significant. So not exactly your fault there.
Yeah, I mean, it's come a long way, but it's also kind of nuts how similar a lot of the old stuff is. You know what I mean? Like, clarity has come a long way, but it's so similar. So that's the other thing I thought. I was like, okay, if I spend, you know, 3, 4, 5, whatever grand on, which is a fuck ton of money, right? It's a stupid amount of money on something that I don't need, right? Like, I don't believe I need it. I believe it could give me an advantage in some situations that I'll likely never find myself in. But, you know, it's just kind of a thing. It's like, damn, I could go out at night with a laser and clap targets at 100 yards, you know,
Yeah,
sitting
man. And
in the bushes. You know, like, that shit is cool to me. But like, I don't know. It's taken me so long to get to that point that I was like, all right, fuck it. I'm gonna do it. Why not? It's a superpower.
yeah, it's again, it's the return on investment for me. And additionally, I think it's kind of a waste to have night vision if you're not functioning with a team. You know, I have my 3
Yeah.
closest friends that again I would fucking kill and die for. But if you're the only one with night vision and they can't ever see themselves buying it, or again, buying the night vision, the laser, the mounts, the helmet, everything, and shooting enough to make your money's worth,
Yeah.
if no one else can agree on that, then I personally feel like it's kind of a waste. Like it's, and then additionally, just look how fast technology moves and how the Instagram gun operator thing runs. You know, in 6 months, people see a new optic and they're like, well, LPVOs are useless now. I'm gonna run a magnifier, and then I guarantee in 6 more fucking months, someone's gonna see a video of a police officer using magnifier or using LPVO and be like, "Oh no, see they're tactical." You know, we all make mistakes, right? And they'll just hop back on the consumer fucking
Back to
train. It's
LPO.
so bad. Like I stereotypes, and I know it's easy to rag on AR guys, but man, like the consumer idea, they cannot stick to one setup for their rifle, or if they have multiple setups, it's like 8 of the same exact rifle with like a 1x difference. I can't understand it, man. Stick to one fucking rifle and shoot that thing to death, man.
Yeah. The Disney Beware. What's up, dude? You're right. I did misspeak. I said Willie Pete, white phosphorus. I meant
Willie
white,
P.
of course, right? I don't Thanks.
Yeah, you might want to not put like white phosphorus in your face, you know.
Yeah.
They're like a little bit of a difference.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one thing. Like one reason why I'm glad I strayed away from the AR crowd, because I legitimately used to have like 6, 7 ARs. Never fucking shot those things.
Really?
And yeah, dude. So the 2 AKs I have that I really run through the pace. And before I get to that, like I understand it's nice to have like multiple of the same gun. I at some point I had like 5 AKs. You know, I have my Arsenal, my Romanian basic AKM, my Draco, the Galil. Call
Mhm.
it it's a fucking AK. But I understand having similar platform, but
Yeah.
you know, dedicate the time to the one rifle you're gonna trust your life with. And these people just constantly shoot like multiple rifles over and over. It's like you just pick one, man.
Yeah.
Stick to it. You know, you keep fidgeting between, you know, such things that don't matter. Like, oh, do I have an 11.5 or a 12.2 or a 13 whatever or 11 point? It's like, dude, this is what you're talking about. Like this much of a difference in barrel lengths is what you're concerned with. When at the end of the day, a fucking piece of lead needs to go down that direction effectively on a target. And like the barrel length comments between all these trivial little lengths, it's like, oh, we'll see, this Instagram guy said 12 point whatever's good. Yeah, but I got like 13 inch, and it's such an endless dumb debate, man. It's like,
Dude, my patience runs out when somebody actually busts out like a fucking like a graph, and then they're like the literally like people have
yeah,
done.
the graph. I know what you're talking about. And you
Oh
see like all the charts. It's like, see, this is where the peak and and you know, for your money, bro, get a
yeah,
fucking rifle.
I'm
For
throwing
God's sakes, man.
it fucking 2,500 feet per second out of 23 to 2,500 feet per second out of a 10.3-inch barrel that way, and that. But I mean, you are right, right? Like put ammo through the primary gun, right? So the guy that was on 2 days ago that confronted that active shooter, when he opened up his safe, he knew what gun he was grabbing, right? I would be the same way. If like shit popped off right now, I open up my safe, I know what gun I'm grabbing. It's gonna be the gun that I've put thousands and thousands of rounds through,
Oh
that is
yeah, dude.
my go-to.
So the Galil was my one of my dream guns. I legit wanted one for years and years, and it had a long, annoying process, but I got one. And the debate came out like if I had to pick one gun, like one rifle and one handgun to take, like as much as I hate it, the Arsenal's going with me. My friend was surprised when I said that, and I was like, I mean, it's the most practical. It has the optic and light on it. It's the most rounds through it, and it's in 7.62 by 39, which all my friends and I run. Like we all have, you know, my buddy's got a shit ton of Bakelite mags. He's got polymer mags. They got a lot of steel mags. We
Mhm.
all just, you know, all the mags that we've used between our rifles all function. We logistically kept it that way to maintain. We have shared mags. We have used, you know, the same ammo before. So between the four of us, we did that on purpose. Like,
Yeah.
you know, I wasn't going to convince him to get a 5.45 AK because that's just not feasible today.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I feel like there's just no commitment to a rifle.
I
This
mean
shit changed. So
that's a huge thing, is like what are the guys, if you have like thinking of like small unit type shit, like what are the guys in your, let's call it a unit, right? It's just a
yeah,
bunch of civilians, right? But like what are the guys that would be fighting with you be rocking? My guys are all rocking ARs and 5.56, so all of us are rocking ARs and 5.56. If they all got ARs and 300 blackout, honestly, at this point, I'm gonna be like, "Fuck you guys. I'm not changing anything."
yeah, dude,
But
I've been the same way
all
now. It's like
7.62 by 39 too. So if we need to be throwing each other, Glock mags or AK mags, like it'd be doable. But it's not.
that's
Not.
the one difference is all of us run different handguns, which to be honest, I don't think is that big of a deal logistically. Like we all run 9 mil, but we all run. I have a Beretta. My other buddy has an M&P 2.0, like the 5 inch M&P. Other buddy has a Glock 19, and my other friend's got fucking Sig. Like we all run different brands, but they're
Yeah.
all the same caliber. So at least that logistically would make sense. But yeah, 7.62 AKs, we all run it. And we all run rifle length AKs too. I used to exclusively run my Draco, and the nice thing about 7.62 39 is that the velocity drop with barrel change is pretty insignificant compared to like ARs.
Yeah.
But it's also kind of a dumb notion these days where people think that if you have a normal like 16-inch rifle AR or AK, they call it long boy or a musket. And I know it's just trivial, and I'm probably just reaching at this point, but when they make comments like that, it makes me think that they like subconsciously or are implying that it's like too long, it's unwieldy, right? And it's like, is it really though? I mean, for fuck's sake, it's most of the world that runs AKs have a standard 16-inch barrel, or people still running M16s today, or M4s that have a suppressor on them. Like, everyone has this weird proclivity to think to make a gun as absolutely small, tiny, and compact as possible, and that's cool to a degree. But I feel like it's such a strong focus to cut that weight down. It's like it's not. I feel like it's overblown.
It's
so
also
overblown. It's like, for fuck's sake, man. I mean, look at me. I go to the gym, but I'm not a bodybuilder. I'm a very average looking guy, and my Sam 7, I can run it. I fucking know I run it better than some people who have ARs. And
Yeah.
it's never a problem. I've had slung over my shoulder with plate carrier, level 4 plates all day, and I'll walk all day with it. Mainly because I go to I stay fit, but it's just people overblow some of the trivial things like that.
I think part of it is because there is the fascination with the what do you call it? Like the fantasy CQB guys, right?
Oh my gosh, man.
The guys that are like, can we just kick off a civil war already? I'm like, bro,
lead the way, brother.
Your wife is going to be like stepping over corpses to go get her soy latte from Starbucks, and you're going to be doing fucking armed security to walk her there. Like, people don't understand like that, what may come from a situation like that. So they glorify the idea of CQB because most of us live in urban or suburban areas, but like there were dudes kicking in doors in fucking Fallujah with a 20-inch A2. You know what I mean? Like I got one of my AKs is a Polish underfolder, and that shit, if it's too long, I'll close the fucking stock and I'll keep it high and tight, and I'll fucking
not ironically, I fucking have shot my Sam a lot of times with it folded. I know how it feels, and I know how that recoil is going to handle when I have it in just two hands, right? But it's just I feel like there's so much trivial stuff. AK guys are guilty of it too. There's so much trivial stuff that people argue about. It's like, just go shoot your goddamn rifle, man. It's not that long. Most of the military is running a full rifle length. Most of the insurgents or other militaries in the world are running normal length rifles. And the way you nitpick at these like little charts, all these things in theory, all these numbers, for fuck's sake, man.
You should be running 77 grain through that. Like, oh my fucking god.
I'm gonna run whatever the fuck I have in most common. All right. It's like what? I think 122 grain or whatever, 7.62. I get Tula steel case. Like, it's plentiful. You do not want to be on the receiving end, and I have a full length rifle. It's good enough for me, man.
Dude, I run that shit through all my AKs, and the Tula 223. I run that shit through I don't run it through my ARs typically, but like through the SIG 5.56. That shit's designed for the steel. It runs like an AK. It's a piston system. It's it's great. Run with the can, no problem. And then the Krink in 5.56, that shit eats steel all day,
Oh, dude. And the AK guys are definitely guilty of this too, is the tuning a gas system. I get really annoyed with that stuff. Okay, if you're running a suppressor, big difference. There's definitely like the gas, dwell time, all that stuff to run reliably. I understand that with your ammo type, the powder, understand it. people who don't run cans and they have like the KNS adjustable like gas piston on AKs or the adjustable gas block. Okay, that you're kind of being a little bit of a bitch. Like, so I've seen a lot of these videos where these instances where people run suppressor or the cans or the gas pistons or some or adjustable gas block where they want the casing to just kind of poops right out of the gun, doesn't have a solid ejection, but and it's really good for that very specific time, day, ammo you're using for like this really soft shooting to just like slowly eject it. But I've seen it firsthand when I was shooting the rifle course of my friends, 3 people who had KNS pistons, all of them having malfunctions left and right. Like my buddy was trying to tune it and he had to open the thing all the way up. So he might as well have never had a KNS piston in the first place. Like it was raining, it was cold, it was like 40 degrees and windy. So in like adverse conditions, like the overgassing is there for a reason, man. Like you're sacrificing the reliability for comfort, and it's just
if you can't, because like let's say you were in a situation with that guy and he went black on ammo and you were like, here, I got you, and you throw him some other kind of fucking ammo and he's like, hang on,
exactly.
I need an Allen key to fucking adjust my
Let me
system.
disassemble my rifle to like adjust the piston that's probably super hot from blasting all this, or let
Yeah,
me touch my gas block that's probably like red hot at this point.
my underfolder that I suppressed, like, yeah, it's overgassed when I put the can on it for sure, right? But it ejects. It chucks them out there, right? But it doesn't strip the mag.
Good.
It doesn't ride over rounds. It runs like a motherfucker. That's all I care about, right?
Dude, people act like your case is going to the next zip code is a bad thing. It's like, you know how annoying it is to be pelted with casings to your guy next to you? Like, honestly, it's kind of a safety thing on a positive side that my casings go over like 5 people before it hits the dirt. Like, that's good. That's not annoying them. Or you ever have a casing go in your shirt and burn you? That's awful.
Oh,
And
it's
so the fact that the casing is going like way over there, that's a feature. It's not a bug. All right.
yeah. As long as your gun runs, it shouldn't matter, you know. And Joe Morris, the P365 is not the best polymer micro pistol. I'm sorry, it's not. I
Yeah, clearly a phase plasma rifle in 40-watt range is the best. So
Exactly. That's exactly what I was gonna say.
amateur hours.
But I know we just hit the 3 hour mark, and I actually gotta wake up for work in the morning. So let,
Yeah.
let's go ahead and bring it to an end. But before we do, let everyone know where do they go for the big cartel?
So on Instagram was where I'm mainly active is Kalash Wave, which is one word, as you see on the screen here, KALASH Wave. There is a link in the bio on Instagram for you can go to Big Cartel and check out stickers, patches, and shirts. That's the best way to support. Any likes, follows, shares, comments, it always helps. I've been a little inactive lately because of other personal stuff coming up, but commissions are open too. I've done commissions before for people to make that retro look that I make for some people for their YouTube channel or a shirt, sticker, whatever they want. So if you want your cool retro VHS design for your own firearm or a specific firearm type, go ahead and send an email and check out the Instagram page for that as well.
Oh yeah.
As
Awesome.
far as the front toward ATF, I am significantly less active on there because of all my time I put to Kalash Wave.
Yeah.
Also, because I don't live in Idaho anymore, I cannot kind of make the cool nature posting with all the different camos I used to, but that's all right.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that's I miss those pictures, man. I would always look
I
for.
I do too. I would live in Idaho again in a heartbeat, but different circumstances.
Yeah, no, I feel you, man. Well, I appreciate you coming on, and I encourage everybody here, take a minute, go hit both of his Instagram pages, you know, give him a follow, give him a like bomb, which means you go through and you like at least 10 of the pictures, right? Show some love, share, and all that. Because guys, it actually took a lot to make this show happen because StreamYard was not having it in the beginning.
Oh,
Yeah, it was challenging, but I will add today I removed all those Glocks that were sitting up there, and what I have is the FN 510 in 10 millimeter, the Glock 40 super duper long boy in 10 millimeter, and yeah, those are. I wanted to give some 10 millimeter love today, so those are the two trophies that are sitting up there today. But appreciate all you guys coming out. Make sure go hit up Instagram, give him some love. And anything else you want to close with on the way out?
Not really. I just appreciate all the support. Even though I won't respond to all of them, I do appreciate all this like live chat comments that some people are making. It's fucking hilarious, honestly. It seems like there's one last question. If I want to have been thinking of selling my Sam 7, would I consider it? Look, man, if it's your, like, are you asking me if I would get it? Well, no, because I have mine. If I think you should sell it, I disagree, because Arsenal imports they're temporary. Imports are not permanent. And it was a miracle that the Sam 7 SF was here, because they came into the country in 2013 for a bit, stopped for like 8 years, and then came back. And so I just jumped on that. I would keep the Sam. I really would, man.
Yeah, I would definitely keep the Sam 7. The thing about Arsenal, like you're saying, like, I remember when you used to find those Plum Circle 10 mags like all over the place, right?
Yes.
For like 20, $30. Now I got a 10 rounder, a 30 rounder, and a 40 rounder. And that with like the Plum furniture on the AK is like gold, but those things are going for like $250 or more. And if I could, I would have gone back to get the SLR 107 UR SBR, which is the same thing, but in 7.62 by 39. But I'm a couple grand and a tax too far for that.
Just as a perspective, when they first were coming out in 2013, they were like $1,300 or $1,200, and everyone thought that was like wildly overpriced. I paid like just shy of $2,000 for this one. And I paid $80 for the like 1-day shipping. It fucking came in like 3 weeks.
Damn.
I got dicked over so hard there.
Dude, that's the worst. You keep getting hit by these damn companies. They're not hitting.
Whatever, man. It is what it is.
Yeah, man. That's yeah, thank you guys. Fluffy Bunny Arsenal, Taco Syndicate, Corn Pop. I know you've been super active in chat, and I apologize. Techno Man, brother. Johnny.
Yeah, I appreciate all these guys. Their questions and comments are hilarious.
Dude, I swear to God, I have like the funniest, most creative and witty people in like as viewers in the comments here. The shit that they say is just when I try to conduct a serious interview, it is almost impossible. Like
some of them were like ragging on me for being Mexican or something. I love those jokes. Again, those kind of spicy, racy jokes, right? They're funny when they got clever, humor to them. Not when someone just makes some dumb, like, derogatory terms. But when someone starts like making some clever jokes, I embrace it, man. I love it.
Of course, Gerchop, I could never forget you. Gerchop, you're the man. You stuck around the whole time. Even though you rock a 38 Super, I still fuck with you, man. You're cool. Goonbeam too. Goonbeam 717. All you guys, man. Love y'all. Well, in closing, you guys know the rules. As always, rule number 1 is to be kind, right? It's so important that we're kind in everything that we do. That brief little interaction you have with somebody else could have a massive impact on their life. So just be kind. Rule number 2 is to live a life of care, compassion, contribution, give to others. When you bless others, you become blessed. That's the way that the world works. You give to others, you receive. Rule number 3, because we know the only way for us to defeat evil is with good men skilled in violence. Make sure that you're becoming as highly skilled in violence as you possibly can be, and be safe, be dangerous, and keep that thing on you. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we're out. I appreciate all you guys. We'll catch y'all later.
Stay radical, my friends.
Stay radical.